What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web on a happy hump day edition. Where is my hump day? Well, there it is.
Hump day.
Hopefully that's working. Can you guys hear that? I know that there's a lot of Bucs fans that are disappointed about the results that happened the other night. In case you didn't get a chance to call, you get the opportunity to call tonight because the phone lines are open. I definitely want to hear from you. But how do we start off this show? As again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. As the Bucs fall to the Washington Commanders 23-20. Not necessarily where you want to be at this point. No. I played the Todd Bowles sound effect because I think there's a lot of fans anticipating that he was going to be fired, but I kind of told you that I don't think that's necessarily going to happen unless I think it's, it's a possibility at this point with Liam Coen now interviewing for the Jacksonville Jaguar job. I don't think they allow him to get out of the building. So I think that's, where they go. Maybe they have a contingency plan to make him the next head coach if they feel like they're going to lose him, or they give him a raise. I don't think Todd Bowles is going to be fired. I do not. I also don't think Liam Coen is going to take the Jacksonville Jaguar job. Why would you take that job? Why would you do it? Like, that's not a good job. And people go, well, it's a head coaching job. It's one out of the 32. Okay. Have we seen coordinators before go to other places and not necessarily work out? Yeah, absolutely you have. Absolutely. So all the Bucs fans inboxing me saying this and that and the other thing, but that is the top story of the day. The Jacksonville Jaguars are interviewing Tampa Bay offensive coordinator Liam Coen for their head coaching vacancy on Wednesday, according to the NFL Network. The team is searching for a replacement for Doug Peterson, who was fired on January 6th after the Jaguars finished 4-13 in a third season with the club. So there you go. Of course, Coen and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers averaged 29.5 points per game, fourth in the league in 2024. The Bucs also ranked third in averaging 399.6 yards per game. Let's just call it what it is, 400 yards per game. Which, by the way, I don't necessarily think the offense had their best game versus the Commanders, although they didn't have the ball that much because the defense couldn't get off the field on third and fourth down. Did it help to turn over the ball? One turnover? Of course not. It didn't help. Was it the biggest play of the game? Most likely it was, but the Bucs had their opportunities. With that being said, this is a highly dynamic, explosive offense. So if you're Coen, why would you want to leave this? Why would you want to leave Baker Mayfield, who had great success this year with 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions? Why would you want to lose or leave Mike Evans and possibly Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan and Cade Otton and Bucky Irving for what? Jacksonville? Really? Jacksonville. The Raiders? The Dallas Cowboys, you want that job with Jerry Jones and his meddling ownership there as a general manager? You want that? What's the possibilities there? What's the other possibilities where you think that he could leave? So that's my question for the night for you Bucs fans. How concerned are you that the Bucs could lose Liam Coen? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, some other numbers. Third in passing yards at 250. Fourth in rushing yards at 149. They also led the league by making 50.9% of their third down attempts, 110 for 216, a total of 395 first downs, second in the league. So you ask for phone calls, you get phone calls. We usually have Leo Haggerty. We don't got him. We usually have Seneca Wallace. We don't got him. You know which we got? We got you guys. We got Bucs Nation. Let's go out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Hey, Peter, this is Trevor. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. I know that there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that are disappointed. I'm one of them. I stayed up with you the other night. I appreciate you guys watching until 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to leave Raymond James Stadium at all because guess what? I didn't want the season to be over with. I had higher expectations for this team overall, but this is where we are at this point. Stand by, Trevor. Ed, I know that you're going to want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you're going to have to stay on hold and let Trevor finish, okay?
No problem.
All right, stand by here. Let's go out to Trevor. Trevor, go ahead.
Yeah, I was, heartbroken as a Bucs fan because, it's been such an up and down the season, but, the back half of the season was just so amazing. I felt like the team, I honestly felt like we had enough talent to at least make an NFC Championship appearance at the bare minimum. But, it didn't really work out.
No, they
But
sure
I'm
didn't.
proud of. I'm definitely proud of the effort. You know what I mean? Of the players Sunday night. Everybody played their asses off. I was extremely proud of Baker. I mean, I know he had the fumble, but outside of that, he was lights out. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
but as far as the coach situation, Lee and Coen, Todd Bowles, I'll start off by saying I like Todd Bowles because I think, given the injuries that we had this season,
Right.
I think he squeezed out as much juice of that orange as he could, as far as wins in the regular season. I mean, except for I definitely think we should have beat Dallas, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But-
and there are some wins this year you should have had, right? I mean, it goes back to
Right.
coaching. This is why a lot of Bucs fans are up in arms. I understand that with the
Right.
clock management and decision making of calling timeouts, and we've talked about it. And are there times where this defense gets too conservative? Are there times where Bowles gets too conservative? Absolutely, and it drives a lot of Bucs fans crazy. I get that, but you're exactly right. You got to give credit to where credit is due. And then on top of it, he's progressively gotten better with his record. Now, I know, again, there's Bucs fans out there who don't like him and want him gone and don't want to lose Liam Coen. And, that's my question for the night. When you hear the Jaguars are interviewing Coen, how concerned are you that you're going to lose him not only to Jacksonville, but another team out there?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you and say this. I don't think it would be a good idea for him to go to Jacksonville as a head coach. I'm just putting myself in the situation. If I was Lynn Cole, I just had a successful season calling plays in Tampa, but I'm going from being an offensive coordinator to a head coach to a team that has a lot of holes. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, to be honest with you, that they're terrible. I mean, they're horrible.
They're horrible.
They got
they're Charles
Barkley
horrible. And,
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence, listen, I get it. Trevor Lawrence has all, the potential in the world. And, he's a first overall pick, but he hasn't really lived up to it, has he? He hasn't really lived up to it. I mean, can maybe Coen unlock it? Is that a challenge for him? Maybe he goes and says, Trevor Lawrence, I can turn him around. I get it. A lot of people go also, he's going to get a head coaching job. He's going to get paid handsomely. Absolutely. He has all those factors play into it, but also he may not want to leave Tampa. It may be a Ben Johnson situation where he stays here because he likes it. He likes his offense, and then he may be promised a coaching job here eventually if Todd Bowles decides to step aside and retire. Todd Bowles is 61 years old. He's not going to coach here forever. He's not.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. And so here's the thing, back to what we're saying with Jacksonville. So, I know you just talked about him, implementing, plays and developing Trevor Lawrence. But guess what? He's going to have a hell of a lot more to do than just that.
Yes.
They're calling some plays.
Correct.
He has an entire team to run. He has to find out, okay, who's going to be his position coaches? Who's going to be his defensive coordinator? How is he going to work with the media? Then he's going to have to learn how to, decide, suspend players when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. He's got to talk to the media. He has to, sign, probably has input with the trades and all that stuff. That sounds like a whole lot more than what a offensive coordinator is doing. And I'm not saying that he can't handle that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, it's like, okay, why would you go there knowing that you're probably not going to be that good? You know what I'm saying? Like, as good of a play caller as you are, you got an entire team to worry about over there, and they're not very good. I don't think one off season is going to fix their issues.
Correct.
Where, like you were saying, you can stay in Tampa another year knowing that you're going to have a great offense as long as everybody is healthy, which, you know what I mean? And then we're going to be able to get more pieces on the defense via free agency and the draft this offseason. So, and that's going to make your resume. If your resume looks good this year, it's going to look even better the following year.
Exactly.
And
what's the rush for him to come this year? What's the rush?
He's going to be a hot commodity.
Correct.
Everybody's going to want him. So it's and then like you said, who knows? Todd Bowles may say, "Hey man, honestly, I only see myself coaching another 2 years." And he could be the successor. He can be the heir apparent to Todd Bowles. Now, I'll say this about Todd Bowles. I like what he did this year, but I will say about him going into next season if he stays, if he's here.
Right.
One thing that I will, after watching all the games, I'll say this. One thing that I feel like he needs to get better at as a head coach that might cost him next year if he stays is when we play the better teams, like because I believe Buffalo's on our schedule next year.
Yep.
We play Houston. They have a great defense. Who knows, the Rams, the Niners. I know the Niners didn't make the playoffs, but I think they'll be back next year.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, I think what he has to do a better job of, in my personal opinion, in those games, I feel like he has to be more aggressive. You're going to be able to get away with, kicking field goals on certain opponents. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to get away with, being a little conservative against certain opponents because they're just lesser opponents, just to be honest. But when you're playing a Buffalo Bills, a Kansas City Chiefs, when you got your foot on their neck, sometimes you got to just stay on their neck.
Agree.
What I'll give Coach Dan Quinn, head coach for the Commanders, credit for Sunday night was he kept his offense on the field the entire game on fourth down. And it drove me crazy as a Bucs fan because I'm like, dude, punt the damn ball, right? Kick the damn ball.
Because they can't stop it. Right.
Right. But to his credit, he was like, look, man, we're playing to win this damn game. The hell with being conservative. And so it's a playoff game. It's win or go home. What the hell do we have to lose? And I feel like when we play those upper echelon opponents, I feel like he needs to adopt that mentality. Kind of like, when we played New Orleans week 18, 4th and 8, and we got it. We need to see a little bit more of that going into next season, in my personal opinion. I know he's going to rebuild the defense, and I expect our defense to be improved next year because we're going to have an off season. Hopefully get an opportunity to get some pass rushers, hopefully get some better linebacker play.
Sure.
Because that middle was getting ate up this season.
Big time. Big time. And that's the other question for the night here. I'm going to throw this out here. Trevor, thanks a lot for that. Reminding me, what do you think the biggest need is right now on January 15th of 2025? And this could certainly change. We'll ask the question again. We'll revisit it. Is it edge rusher? Is it middle linebacker? Is it corner? Is it possibly safety? In your opinion, what is it? Is it edge rusher, middle linebacker, or is it corner? And then we'll go out to the Greek here.
Based off what Todd Bowles likes to do, in my personal opinion, we definitely need that premier pass rusher because the thing is, if we get after the quarterback, it's going to give our DBs and linebackers opportunities to get turnovers. We didn't get that many turnovers this year, right?
Correct.
So, if we're able to get that elite pass rusher, screw up some timing for these offenses, that's going to lead to turnovers. And I feel, and the first step to do that is to have that elite pass rusher, that Simeon Rice or, that JPP and Shaq Barrett in 2020. We need that type of edge rusher on our defense. Yaya Diaby had a pretty decent season, but I think he needs a tag team partner. It's
not going to be JTS. I think they may bring back Shaq Barrett in a rotational role, possibly, and maybe Anthony Nelson. But those guys at the end of the day are just rotation. To me, you need a veteran pass rusher. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to Cleveland. I'm going to see how much it costs me for Myles Garrett. I would trade a first-round pick for Myles Garrett, possibly another premium pick. And then you solidify your defense and it gives you that veteran presence because, listen, I love to build through the draft, but let's face it, you got Braswell last year in the second round. He needs to develop. He still could develop. But if you're going to get somebody and you have that championship window, which we assume that window is going to be open here in the next couple of years, you need to get a veteran. Trevor, I tell you what, let me go ahead and go out to my co-host here, Mr. Handicapper Extraordinaire of the Sports Web, and I know that he loves to hear his music come back. So here we go. There you go, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. You hear this? I know you like this too. Let's go! That's right. The Greek curse is over with. I figured out the sound effect situation. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, a disappointing hump day edition of the Sports Web after the Bucs were eliminated by the Washington Commanders. We also got Trevor on the phone, and we're going to get out to Ed. Trevor, go ahead and finish up. You can use that second call if you want to, my friend.
Okay. I'll just end it by saying, just like Baker said, I feel like the future's bright. We just got to make sure we do the right thing in the off season.
Yeah.
You already know how I feel about Ty Bowles. I feel like he just has to be more aggressive against the upper echelon opponents, and
sure,
that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm gonna grieve. I'm going to continue to grieve.
It feels like a eulogy tonight for the Bucs season in 2024, 2025, but it's not, because as you know, Trevor, you watch this show. We got you covered in the off season. We'll get your all the rumors, all the guys, coaches being fired, coaches moving on. Liam Coen, no concern going to the Jacksonville Jaguars or another job at this point, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right, Trevor, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you as always.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go out to Ed in just a moment. Ed, stand by, but I want to get out to Harry. Give me your thoughts on the Bucs being eliminated. How surprised were you on Sunday night? Welcome to the Evolution.
It was a horrible,
hey guys,
horrible result. Horrible result, man. It was a shame what happened, in that game. You're a player or two away from putting the game away. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Baker Mayfield learns how to do a handoff. It was just a timing issue. I'm not trying to be indicting on one player, but the play calling was atrocious in this game. Absolutely atrocious. And I mean absolutely atrocious. That game should have been so far out of reach it wasn't even funny. I mean, what got you there were screen passes and things like that. You didn't see anything like that in this game, Peter. And I don't hear anybody talking about it. All I hear about it is everybody wants to have Todd Bowles' neck, and just hang him out to dry.
Sure. Stand by, Harry.
Blame. Go ahead, buddy.
Caller, stand by. We got Ed coming on here. Stand by on hold, okay?
1, 2, Harry. I'm looking.
Oh my gosh, it's Mr. Williams. Stand by on hold here, okay? We'll go out to Ed in a moment here, but yeah, you're exactly right. The defense was not able to get off the field on 3rd and 4th down. The offense only had the ball, I think, something like 44 times, 44 plays, because the defense in Washington dominated time of possession. But you're exactly right. I don't necessarily think this was the best called game by Coen.
I thought close.
It wasn't.
Pete, you call it what it is, buddy. Come on. Say it with me. It's kind of cathartic. Okay. What got you there was the screen passes. Those were the little things that got you to keep things off balance. Sure. Why are you trying to run reverses, on a sweep like that? I have no clue why you're trying to do that. That requires exact precision. And he's handing the ball off to someone that he may have handed the ball off to maybe a handful of times throughout the course of the season.
Right.
No reason to do that. None. Absolutely none. And that I'm going to strictly blame your offensive coordinator in this game. There's nobody else to blame but him. I mean, everybody who's trying to give this man the credit. Look, man, he didn't throw the ball for 4,000 yards this year. Okay. Baker had his best year as a career is because of that running game that he had behind him that set up the play action.
Right.
Okay. Good play calling for the most part for the year, but this game, nah. If you're going to blame somebody, you got to blame Coen on this one.
I think you definitely got to blame Coen, and I think he got too cute at times, especially with the end around, especially with some of the plays that were called in this game. Let me go out. I saw like it was a different formation. You're running Baker there. I mean, I just didn't see the same type of offense. And again, give the Commanders credit. They kept the ball, and they absolutely, that defense was not able to get off the field. The defense didn't do enough getting after Daniels. Let me go out to Ed. Ed, go ahead. Welcome to the Evolution here on a Happy Hump Day edition.
You guys are not going to agree with me, but I'm going to say that Todd Bowles is definitely the biggest problem here.
Why is he the biggest problem, Ed?
They did not get off the field on 3rd down. I don't know how many times.
Okay, is that on players?
Let him finish. Let him finish.
If you're gonna be a head coach,
right,
in the NFL, you better learn how to handle the time management.
Okay, so the time.
What does that have to do with 3rd down, Ed?
Yeah, I don't
Has a
understand.
lot to do with third down. If you don't get off the field, your offense can't get on the field. And if your offense don't get on the field, the chances are you're not going to score.
Make your point on the defense. Why this defense cost them the game today on Saturday? Seriously, I'm on that evening.
Yeah,
I'm kind of curious about that one.
I did make my point. Did they get off the field? How many third downs that they gave up first downs on?
Well, yeah, but that's also on the players. That's all on Todd Bowles. That's on his scheme and everything. That's not on the players at all. That's not on them.
When you leave the middle of the field open to quick passes.
Okay.
On third down, guess what's going to happen?
Okay, so
he's absolutely correct with that statement.
Right.
Now this time for you to have a little come to Jesus for yourself. From the 20 to 20, the Washington Commanders had full reign. If you listen to the pregame show when we were talking about it, I predicted that this team on defense would give up between 400 and 500 yards and not give up more than 18 points. How many fourth down conversions did they go for, and how many did they get? And let me tell you something, Ed. If it wasn't for bonehead decisions and plays, they wouldn't have scored the 18 points in that game. Where was the coaching on the offensive side of the ball? The defense was not the problem. You're correct. Third down, they gave it up. But I'll tell you what, when they got in that red zone, Washington struggled mightily in this game. Mightily. If it wasn't for a couple of mistakes, either on a penalty or if it was going for it on fourth down, I mean, there was just numerous little things that had happened that contributed to this loss. But to say that that defense is the reason why, because they couldn't get off the field on third down, is ludicrous. You're correct. They gave up a lot of yards, but they didn't give up a ton of points. This blame goes to the offense.
Yeah, I think it could all be shared, right? I mean, it's easy to just blame one area. It's easy to blame, Todd Bowles, because again, there's a lot of fans out there.
He's the head coach. I get it, and they're going to go after him.
Right?
Okay, I understand they're going to go after him.
But
I'd love to know from Ed. Ed, are you still on the line?
Yeah, Ed's still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Ed, who would you rather have coaching this team? Is it the OC, Liam Coen, or Todd Bowles? Be honest. But
the OC.
So you want Liam Coen?
That's not a problem I'm asking, but now you need to tell me why. What is he showing you this year that makes you say that he is ready to be an NFL head coach to lead this brigade to the promised land?
I'm not going to lie. It's a gamble.
Okay.
It's definitely a gamble.
Okay.
It's a gamble with any head coach. It doesn't matter if they got head coaching experience or not. You don't know what they're going to do.
No, I can tell you what they did do this year, though.
Yeah.
And you know what, and again, this is what everybody's passing the eye test. I mean, everybody's enamored with all the yards and 29 points a game, and Baker's had career days and this and that. This team ran the football effectively. You could take a subpar quarterback and make him look really good in this type of offense because it was so friendly because of the running game. And I'm not belittling Baker Mayfield. I am a Baker Mayfield fan. I am a Mike Evans fan. I am a Cade Otton fan. I'm a Chris Godwin fan. The bottom line is this. Let's go back 2 weeks ago when they were playing the New Orleans Saints. Okay? And there was a large debate about why aren't people making adjustments, and they're making them till halftime. Let me tell you something. That was the single worst offensive play calling that I've seen this season by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next worst was the playoff game against the Washington Commanders. They were stuck, and they married themselves to running the football when they knew New Orleans was going to do nothing but set 5 on the line of scrimmage and blitz them mercilessly on run blitzes, and they just couldn't stop it. And then in the second half, that wasn't Liam Coen making the adjustments, sir. That was your head coach and Mr. Todd Bowles that said, hey, we had enough of this. We are going to change this up. So before everybody starts jumping on Liam Coen should be the head coach of this team, buddy, you of all people who's been a fan in this club for this many years understands the heartbreak that the fans have had to endure, just like I've had to endure from being from Chicago and having to watch those teams. Tampa's very blessed to have a coach like a Todd Bowles because he can actually lead this team. He is a leader of these people. When he makes changes, you've seen it. And the last point I'm going to give you, defensively, Everybody says they got no pass rush. You're right. They're only 6th in the NFL in sacks. Let that taste. Go ahead and swallow it because it does taste pretty good. And they're 4th in the NFL against the run. And this is a team that's been completely decimated on defense. And why do I say Todd Bowles is really good, Ed? Because if it wasn't for him, this team never makes the playoffs. That head coach, like 90% of the other head coaches, checked his ego before he walked into the door and didn't say, it's going to be my scheme, and that's it. You're going to run it. No. He took his scheme and fitted it for the players that he had and the lack of talent that he had to make that defense as good as what they had. So with that, I'd love to hear your opinion after hearing that, because a lot of people did not know those stats.
Well, and we know those stats because we've been putting them out there. I just wish they had a consistent pass rush, even though the numbers show they're 6th in sacks. You don't have that consistent pass rusher. You need that. I think you need that veteran presence. I think to Ed's point, what he's scared of losing is the continuity to the offense. You don't want to have, another offensive coordinator be your 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. Coen definitely had a part of Baker Mayfield having a great year. Coen definitely had a part of schematically improving that running game and also with that offensive line. But, I understand both points to it. Ed, appreciate the call, man. Use that second call.
That's awesome.
Definitely,
Thanks,
we
Ed.
appreciate hearing
it,
from
buddy.
you. Let's go out to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, welcome to the evolution.
I done heard enough. Hang up on that clown.
Well, you've got Harry on the line here. He's
Harry,
still waiting for his wings, Harry. Still waiting for him.
Harry. All right. Now, see, I done heard the young man that was on the phone.
Yes, sir.
He sounded like a damn fool.
So you're ready. You're not ready to fire Todd Bowles. So you're
hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
Okay.
No. Why would you want to fire the man?
No.
He says hell no. He didn't say no. He said hell no.
And I need to make a statement, and you don't have to go to a full screen.
Right
Hold on.
Right now,
For all those people, please, Peter, can you stop for a sec?
Hold on, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, hold on a sec. Go ahead. Go ahead, Harry.
And I got to tell you, it makes me sick to my stomach to have a team that's been this good for so many years and win a division. Last year, they won a playoff game. How short people's memories are and everything else. But if I have to see, and again, I'm not trying to get into a political or a racial discussion, but if I have to see another post from reputable Bucs sites and toting the line on being racist by using crappy ass words about Todd Bowles, it's going to make me sick. Absolutely sick.
Makes me mad.
And it should. Okay, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but I am not going to tolerate that, nor am I going to allow it to be on this platform. Don't even bring it here. Okay? Because hang on, there are people that watch this show, Mr. Williams, that I'm not going to name. You know who you are. Okay, to jump on that bandwagon for what? Because of this color of his skin? Take that shit somewhere else. It ain't going to happen here.
Well, I hope there's not anybody that's watching this program that's like that.
Oh, honestly. It is, Pete. And I'll talk to you off air about it.
Please do. Please do that. Please do. All right, Mr. Williams, what's on your mind?
I'm going to tell you right now, like the other guy before, I agree with him because, look, when we had our foot on Patrick Mahomes' neck, we should have stepped on it. Okay, bad crop management. Okay, I'm cool with that.
Right, not going for two. But, right.
Okay, the Washington Commandos. We should have went for that 4th and 1.
Well,
okay.
Well, it's 4th and 3 actually, not 4th and 1. But analytically, according to ESPN, was the right decision.
But right at the end of the day, my head coach need to, we need to start taking chances on our playoff appearances now. Now that we know, look, it's one and done. Mm-hmm. We don't got nothing else to lose, baby. Let's take it and let's go for what it is. We got enough talent out there.
Are you
Okay.
concerned, Mr. Williams, of losing Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator, to Jacksonville or the Raiders or the Cowboys or the Jets?
Liam Coen, God forbid. Don't go to Jacksonville, boy. Bring your ass back to the Sunshine State.
Right.
Come back. Because you got to go over there and plug a hell of a lot of pipe. You got to go fix a lot of shit over there.
He said to plug a lot of pipe. You got to plug a lot of pipe there in Jacksonville. He's plugged the pipe. That's true. There's a lot of things you got to fix there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mr. Williams. Yes.
You got guys that's ready for gold jackets over here, bro.
Yes.
Okay, like what was said. Look, Tom Bowles, 61, 62, okay? He's not going to be here forever.
Correct.
Because when he stepped down, guess what? The Glazers going to put you in charge. Why go somewhere where it's already a mess, when you already got a clean table?
All right, Mr. Williams, we appreciate the take as always. We gotta get Harry to get you those wings, my friend.
And hold on.
Yes.
54.
Yeah.
God forbid, we hope you come back.
Right. So that's up in the air at this point. Yes.
Yeah. Shaq Barrett, we appreciate you coming back home for another year because you still on my roster. I like that. I like that, man. But Liam Coen, God forbid, don't shoot yourself in the foot and go to Jacksonville, man.
Yeah, because you might not have a coaching job at that point. You know what you were able to do here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You don't necessarily have the same type of weapons.
You got weapons that's here. You got guys that's familiar with what you got going on,
right? And
you got guys that done clicked into your style.
Yep.
Do not go over there and you gotta reteach. You gotta figure out, is this guy gonna make this here? If this guy gonna do this, if this guy gonna do that? No. Stick to what you got going on and look at what you did here.
Like it. I like it, Mr. Williams. Appreciate
because you got a chance on what we got going on now.
Yes.
Is we gonna make that we can make another run back to the promised land in 25, man.
You can. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams.
Antoine Winfield.
Yes. You got to play better. Definitely got to play better.
Glad to see you back, man.
Well, he wasn't Antoine Winfield Jr. of old. I definitely think he was affected by injuries. Yes.
Yeah. And one more thing.
Yes.
Just let me say this. Tom Bowles did do a hell of a lot of squeezing on all the injuries that we had, and that man did persevere on what we had to play with to even get us to the playoff. But hey, we had a little bad clock management, but hey, we live, we learn.
Well, hopefully, listen, Mr. Williams, hopefully he learns from that. Hopefully that improves, and hopefully it doesn't affect this team. And I definitely think appreciate the call as always. Let me go back out to this about Levante David, because that is definitely going to be talked about. When asked by Pewter Report, after the game, if he would consider, hold on, we're going to hold off on the calls right now. Ed, you're trying to call back again. Hold on a sec here. When asked about it, no, not really. Levante David told Pewter Report, right now, I'm just going to take this on, go home, regroup a little bit, see where my head is at, then go from there. No exact timeline. All I'm going to do is go home, get my mind off of football. I'll come back. I'll have a decision by there. Let's go out to the phone lines. Alex, welcome to the Evolution. First question of the night: how concerned are you about this Bucs team losing Liam Coen?
Okay, Peter, I got a lot to say tonight. Okay, so I'm gonna make it really, really quick.
Okay, well,
So
we'll
here's
see.
the thing.
Let's see how it goes.
So,
Yes.
So here's the thing. Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna make it known that I do not want Todd Bowles fired. Todd Bowles does not deserve to be fired or let go. I want to get that out there right now because
That's a good thing.
There was a comment that Peter made before that last caller, and I ain't gonna go into it right now, but I know exactly what he's talking about because I had some ignorant person tag me in it too, and I went on to it. Todd Bowles, what his success has been able to do is nothing short of amazing considering the injuries. My only issue with Todd Bowles has been two things and will always be an issue until he addresses it. Number one is I think he has the worst clock management of any coach in the NFL. I know for a fact clock management has cost us 2 games this year alone. That is a fact. I saw it in the Washington game, how horrible his clock management is. So that is a big issue for me. Also, people want to say, keep Todd Bowles. He's won it's a three-peat of a division title. I'm all for Todd Bowles keeping his job, but how many years are we going to go when you have by the way, keep in mind that the Bucs have an absolute, in my opinion, a very elite roster overall. If you look at the offense, if Godwin's healthy, Mike Evans is healthy, K-Dot and all these guys, look what Bucky Irving has been able to accomplish as a rookie, over 1,000, actually 1,100 yards of rushing this season. Mike Evans, another 1K season. I just don't want to go another year with the cost of Liam Coen. Keep that in mind for a second. With the cost of Liam Coen, I don't want to go another year just to go out and say, congratulations, we won another title in one of the worst divisions in football. Because at the end of the day, the NFC South is one of the worst divisions in football.
You still got to win the division. You know,
it is the worst. It is the worst division.
Is it? Is it? Because the AFC South is pretty bad too.
Who cares if it's the worst division? It's still hard to win 4 or 5 times in a row.
Right,
Alex, I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying.
I'm saying that I don't want to say I want to see, to answer his initial question, to answer Peter's question when he first answered the phone, he asked me, what do I think about him leaving, Liam Coen leaving? I don't want him to leave I don't want Todd Bowles to be head coach on the cost of him leaving. I don't want Coen to walk out of one Buc place, period. What he's been able to do with Baker Mayfield in that offense has been nothing short of absolutely outstanding. You can't let go of something and take a whole step back and a reset on that offense and have someone else come in here again. I just don't believe in having a three-peat, back-to-back year of a new offensive coordinator. That's just taking more steps back when you have an offense that really worked and clicked with Liam Coen this year.
That's a great point, but I'll give you the facts though. Baker Mayfield had that kind of a year. Yeah, was Liam Coen part of it? Yeah, but he's not the reason, man. Not even close. The biggest reason is because of Mike Evans and K-Dot, Tristan Wirfs. The best running game next to the Detroit Lions in the game. It could take an average quarterback and make them look great. And did I mention he was the #1 overall draft pick? That's the reason why. Do you know how many Liam Coens there are in the National Football League? Are you serious? I mean, there's so many, it's not even funny. The points that I'm going to make, and I don't know what you called up for. You sounded a little bit defensive, and I wasn't inferring anything to you, by the way. And I think you understand what I'm talking about. Let me finish. I just let you have 5 minutes. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So you don't have to try to justify anything and why you're liking Todd Bowles. I merely said something earlier, and then I got a text message from you. And I didn't understand where that was coming from because none of this inference has to do anything with you whatsoever. Okay, so whatever you've had from before, and do me a favor, the person you mentioned in here is a very good friend of mine. Okay, he's not ignorant. Let me be very clear when I say that. He's not an ignorant person. He's a very knowledgeable person that played the game. Okay, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what the history is there, nor am I ever going to bring it up. But getting back on track about Todd Bowles, he's the reason why this team's in the playoffs. Trust me when I tell you, as long as this team stays together, Liam Coen can go, and he'll have the same success that one other offensive coordinator had when he went to Carolina. It's going to take a couple years to get going. Liam Coen is not the reason why this offense was clicking. It is the players that I told you about is why they made them click. If anything, Liam Coen is a relatively conservative coach because he runs the ball as much as he does. It just so happened to be that they ran it so successfully this year that they were able to pass the ball. Let me tell you something. Did you know over 60% of the yards came off the play action?
Yep.
The people that turned around and wanted to bash Todd Bowles so much, talking about, I've got no pass rush. They were 6th in the NFL in sacks. See, a lot of people don't know that. And 4th in the NFL against the run. But they gave up a lot of yards. A lot of yards. But you know what? They didn't give up a lot of 7s. This loss is strictly on Liam Coen, not Todd Bowles this week.
Agreed. I want to say one more point and then I'm going to get out of here. The only other issue, because I said I had 2 points about Todd Bowles. And by the way, I want to say something real quick. I'm not here to bash Todd Bowles. I think I said this on Peter's last show. I said this when the season ended. I said it before when the regular season ended. What Todd Bowles has been able to do concerning the injuries, losing Godwin, Winfield Jr. going out, the injuries alone is a whole other storyline. On Todd Bowles was still able to win, 5 out of the 6 last regular season games?
6 out of the 7. 6 out of the last 7. Yeah.
6 out of the last 7. So
yes.
I'm not here to bash Todd Bowles, but there is just a couple things I feel like that sets his team back. This is the last thing and I'm done. Halftime adjustments. I just don't. That example, that defense. Why did Washington beat us so bad? Well, not really beat us bad. Let me rephrase that question. Why did they not punt one time?
Because they kept going for it.
Well, kept on going for 4th down.
And hold on. And Tampa made some huge stops, buddy, on 4th down. Explain to me why we're calling such an absurd play, okay? And Baker Mayfield can't stick it into the gut of a wide receiver to run an end around. You know why? Because this receiver might have received maybe 5 or 6 handoffs in the course of the year. Wait a minute. Is he the reason why this offense was moving?
Well, to a certain degree,
not for running the football. Give it to Bucky Irvin.
But to be fair here, Harry, they've done it throughout the year 17 times with the end around, and they thought they could do it again. But I agree.
Do you know the precision that has to be involved to stuff that in that guy's gut?
Right.
Especially in the 4th quarter to put the game away. I'm sorry.
Bro, right where you're at. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense where the play call is at because you're on your own goal line at that point, and then you give Washington's offense that short field. But to be fair, they have done it 17 times this year with some great success. But I agree with you. They did get cute at that point. You know, it's hindsight. It's 2020. You know, and they had other opportunities. I go back to what the media icon TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network said. They had the other opportunities there when you're supposed to get a yard and they're not able to accomplish a yard at that point. So that's not the only play. They could have gone for it on 4th and 3. Let me ask you, Harry and Alex, appreciate the call as always, my friend. Use that second call if you want to. Ed, I know you want to call back for some reason. I guess you had something you wanted to say, so we'll take that call. And of course, we'll read your comments as always.
What are you
I won't neglect
Peter?
you.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, should Todd Bowles have gone for it on 4th and 3 at that point? Because analytically, according to ESPN, they should have went for it on 4th and 3 instead of taking the points and tied it at 20. What do you say?
I take the points. I'm more of a conservative kind of guy. And eventually all these 4th downs that you're going for, it's going to bite you in the ass, okay? Let me tell you something, Peter. Had this Buccaneer defense been decent, okay, not decent, just healthy, okay, honestly, they would have shut this offensive attack down. Washington ain't scaring anybody. Okay, they're not scaring anybody. That's the reason. Now they're going to Detroit. That's the highest over under. It's almost like a college game. It's 56.5 points. I mean, give me an effing break, okay?
Yeah.
Trust me on this. Either one of these two teams are going to get their ass handed to them because they're going to try to go for it on fourth down on their side of the field, and then they're not going to get it. But go ahead and go to your call. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Ed, go ahead. Use your second call.
Yeah, I'm using my second call.
Hey,
I really appreciate the statements that were made by the other caller that came on following me. I'm not going to get into a huge, I have a thick skin.
Oh, God.
First of all, I'm not racist. Okay, I had to take a lot of heat because when Winston went 30 for 30, and
Ed, can we say something? We weren't referring to you.
We weren't even referring anything to you, man.
Listen, we were not referring to anybody.
I'm talking about the caller.
Okay.
I'm talking about the caller. You say that I sounded like a damn fool.
Oh, well, that's Mr. Williams for you. I think that's Mr. Williams. So
yeah,
it happens here on this show.
You guys,
right?
I know you guys know me. We met in person a couple of times. You guys know me. So, I mean, bottom line is that I took a lot of heat on Facebook because I called for Tim to go away, and he needed to go. I mean, he was terrible. I mean, he's still not starting anywhere.
Well, he's not. He wasn't a good quarterback. Jameis Winston at the time, and behind door number 2 was Tom Brady. Absolutely. I get a chuckle out of it. I go sometimes back and forth with people on Facebook. It's okay. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to have an opinion on this show. I know, the callers.
What's not cool,
right?
What's not cool is if race is brought in. I don't know if he was talking about that or not.
No,
or maybe he just thinks I sound like an idiot.
No. And Harry's the one that brought it up, and he saw it on Facebook, and I got the screenshot to prove it. But that's just it's sometimes there's idiot people
that's not
out there.
To be shared with anybody.
Right. I'm not going to share it with anybody.
Nobody.
No.
Okay. No. You guys know who you are.
Yep.
Leave it alone.
Yep.
Just don't bring that bullshit to this platform.
That's
all I'm asking about.
Because it's nonsense.
I don't want to hear about it.
Let me say one thing. If I was really a racist person, I wouldn't watch football.
Man, we didn't say, dude, we didn't say you're racist.
I know you didn't.
Okay.
I know you didn't.
Okay.
This is for the rest of the people out there that may think so because I said something about
It's not that. You don't have to defend yourself if you don't like Todd Bowles on the show. Listen, let me go put out a PSA, okay? Let me put this out there. If you disagree with what I say or Harry says, it's okay. We're okay with you disagreeing with us. We're also okay with you not liking Todd Bowles. Just because you don't like Todd Bowles doesn't mean you're a racist. It just means you don't prefer him as a coach. Period. That's it. End of story. End. Finito. I'm over this. All right, Ed, appreciate the call. As always, thanks a lot. Yes.
Take it easy, Ed.
Enough of that. Enough of that damn nonsense.
Hey,
we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that on this show. They do that all the time on friggin' social media nonsense.
I know they do. I just had to bring up a point that I was not going to entertain any of that conversation.
Correct.
Tonight. I've had to endure it on my post. I've had to run through these feeds.
Terrible.
People DMing me. And first off, the people that are making comments like that couldn't spell football if their life depended on it.
Right.
But yet they're going to have an opinion. But the nice thing about this country, everybody gets to have an opinion. Whether it's ignorant or not, I don't know. I'm just telling you to leave that shit at the door and don't bring it in here. That's it.
There you go.
And I'm sorry. I don't want to discuss this anymore.
Here's your sound effect. And if you act like an idiot, this is what you get.
That's good enough to suck right there.
If you knew how many text messages that I'm getting.
Oh, I want to hear it. I want
defending themselves. It's just you're going to be like, what?
Well, I want to know who it is.
I never even called any names. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about.
So Levante David, he doesn't know if he's going to come back. In your opinion, from what you saw from David, still playing at somewhat of a high level.
Playing at a super high level, Pete.
Do you think he comes back? Does he come back at 35 years old?
From a selfish standpoint, I want Levante David to play.
Okay.
But from a realistic point, from a health standpoint, there's nothing else for this man to prove. He's gotten a Super Bowl. He's had a fabulous career. I mean, absolutely fabulous career. And the position that he plays and the beating that he takes, I wouldn't blame him if he retired. so that he can still keep his faculties in the next 15 years. Because I'll tell you what, CTE is a real thing. It's a real thing. So if he retires and he wants to spend more time with his family, God bless him. He's had a great career, and it's next man up, and let's just keep moving.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. This is what Levante David had to say about Todd Bowles. He said, obviously, I'm proud of the work they're done this year. Excuse me. That's not Todd. That's not Levante David. Let me see here. Because there was some comments in the okay. Here it is. Outside looking in, they see something different, talking to the fans. Inside, being in the building, seeing him every day, the way he works, the way he tries to do the best for the players and stuff like that, we know what type of guy we got. We know what type of leader and man he is. And if you don't hear none of his complaining about him, I don't think you should complain about him. There you go. That's what Levante David said about the fans and the love affair of having Todd Bowles fired. There you go.
That's because this head coach puts it all on the line for his players.
And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say he's perfect, because he has things to work on. He does. And there is a part of me that says, I don't know if he's ever going to get better as a coach. I don't know if the Bucs are going to be able to get over the top. But here's what I do know. I do know that they won the NFC South 4 straight years. I do know progressively with his record, he's gotten better every year. 8 wins with Tom Brady and all the distractions, 9 wins after, and now 10. I get it. It's a first-round exit, but give the Commanders their credit. And then on top of it, this team continues to play for him. They have not quit. If they quit, then maybe that's a conversation we have.
And we have our ears so close to the ground with your connections in Tampa, the people that I know with the Buccaneer organization. You don't hear any of these players talking about he's losing the locker room like you hear in other NFL cities. So please, man, spare me the BS by saying we need to have Liam Coen as the head coach. Be careful what you wish for, because trust me, I'll be out there talking all about it when it falls straight flat on its face. These are the same people that are talking about that they wanted Byron Leftwich to be the head coach.
Oh, easy. Those are fighting words, because I was one of those guys that
I know, and I'm trying to be nice, excluding you, but even you and I.
You don't have to be nice to me, because I'll handle it.
How about them Bucs, baby?
I'll give you a little Byron Leftwich right there.
You and I have also, but you and I have also had conversations regarding Byron Leftwich and why it wasn't to be a good idea. And then I waited a year or two, and it went, now, Peter, do you understand why you didn't want him? And you even said, yeah, he doesn't have a job. So, you've got to leave the stars out of your eyes a little bit, and let's do what's in reality. It didn't pass the eye test.
Right.
He had a great group of players. I mean, come on.
Well, man. Tom Brady,
Brown and Tom Brady and Gronkowski. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Liam Coen. Look at this running game. Could you imagine? Now, I get Leonard Fournette was a really good running back, but could you have this dynamic duel? Can you imagine that sitting behind Tom Brady and letting him have both of these running backs? I mean, give me a break.
With Rachaad White and the way he catches the ball and how Tom Brady likes to dump it off, and then
I would say unstoppable.
Unstoppable offense. If Tom Brady were still in his his years, his prime, if you will. But
Tom Brady, and everybody knows I don't have any love lost for Tom Brady. I respect the man wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
At his age, he could have came back and played behind this line with those 2 running backs and still won a division. Okay? That's how much I really like what this team did, man. Honestly.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that one. I would not bet on Tom Brady coming behind this offensive line at all, because there are times this year, the last couple of years, where Baker has to have that escapability, has to have that mobility, how
everybody
he's made things happen.
But Tom Brady running game made it happen, man.
But Tom Brady would not be successful with this offense.
I'm just telling you, I liked what they did running this football.
Oh, I love it too. I love it too.
Okay. That running game was just it's one of the best that I've seen in so many years. I can't even it's right up there with what's going on up in Detroit. I'm telling you, it's that good. But they didn't score as many touchdowns, for the running backs,
we got a message here from the media icon, Mr. TJ Reeves, who should be joining us here in a couple minutes. I didn't announce it because we were supposed to have Seneca Wallace. We didn't have him. We didn't have Leo, but we may have. Right now, it looks like we're going to have TJ Reeves. So we'll take your Bucs questions. I want to read these comments before we get out to that.
I just want to read the last one.
Yes.
Can I do that for you?
Go for it.
Can we also say some of the fans have become spoiled the last 5 years because a lot of fans have forgotten the last 20 years before? David?
Thank you very much. And I think that's what it comes down to. And when you remember it, and it's not making excuses, it is the fact that, Todd Bowles and this organization had to retool after Tom Brady retired because they took that cap hit and they made lots of changes and were still able to be competitive. Harry must be so happy the soundboard is working. I know he is.
I'm clearing up the suck right there.
All right, let's go out to our comments right there. Roger Shue.
Acknowledge me.
Sal, KR, evening, guys. It's my birthday week. Go Bucs. Go Bucs to you. Go Bucs. Go
Happy
Bucs.
birthday, KR.
Go Bucs.
Jesus, this is going to take a half an hour just to get through your
Listen,
comments.
You shut up. Go Bucs. Absolutely. Evening,
Oh,
fellas,
my
says
God.
Christopher Cole. Tim says, good evening, Peter. They want to say hi. I want to say hi back. We'll get to TJ Reeves in just a moment.
I
We
can see
came out
TJ
flat.
in the back room. TJ, don't worry. It's going to be about 30 more minutes.
It's
He's
not
playing
going
with
to be
his
30
buttons.
minutes. You're just
He's
a
playing with
hater.
the buttons.
You don't like my sound effects. It was the curse of the Greek media icon. He put it on this laptop. He put the bad juju on there, so I couldn't figure it out. And now I figured it out, and he hates this sound effect. So there you go. I can hear it. Good stuff. I tell you what, we'll get back to the comments in just a moment. I want to get out to the media icon himself, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. On a happy hump day, but kind of disappointing, if you will, because we wanted to talk about playoff football when it involves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and unfortunately, it didn't happen on Sunday night. Well,
What's up,
It did
TJ?
not. Good to be with you, my friends. I was hoping, I said to you last week, let's be talking about the divisional round of the playoffs. We can still talk about the divisional round of the playoffs if you like. It just doesn't involve our beloved Buccaneers here.
Yeah.
And that's the finality of this season. This is what happens in the postseason. Sometimes you get your heart ripped out and stomped on it. And the thing I keep coming back to 3 days later, you had chance after chance to go win that game, obviously, and you did not do that. And so many of the games down the stretch of the season, you were the better team in the fourth quarter. Say what you want about level of competition, but you were the better team in the fourth quarter or in the overtime case with Carolina, and you found a way to win those games. In this case, it was the Commanders that found the way to win. And so that's the way you go into this offseason. And I know you got plenty on the plate, so fire away, both of you, on the conversation. I caught some of the show earlier tonight. I know we're going to go back and forth a little bit, so whatever you'd like to do, boys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the big time story and the concern and my question for the night was Liam Coen is interviewing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I asked the fan base, how concerned are you about losing him? I get it. He's a hot shot candidate, what he did with the Buccaneers and the offense this year. But I look at the Jacksonville situation. That's not ideal if you want to go into your first coaching job. The Raiders, Mark Davis, you want to go coach with him and get it? Tom Brady's the minority owner. But you got Mark Davis in that bad Dumb and Dumber haircut there. You got the Dallas Cowboys. How about those Cowboys? Skeletor right there. Jerry Jones still running that team into the ground since 1996. The Jets. You got Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers in the dark room. I mean, these are the coaching. These are the decisions. I feel like Coen could be like Ben Johnson. I'm asking fans tonight.
You
TJ,
left out Harry's Bears. You left out the Bears.
The
They
Bears
have no
team
interest in him.
Are
They had interest in him.
They
The
had.
Chicago Bears had interest in Liam Coen, but
Mhm.
I will break the news now. They did interview Mike McCarthy, and he's the only coach. By the way, I'm surprised you haven't gotten the invite to get interviewed because they are interviewing everybody.
Apparently.
But he's the only one that they sent a private jet for. They rolled out the red carpet for
see.
him. They did.
Because he used to beat him all the time when he was the coach of the Packers. With
You know
Aaron
what? I
Rodgers.
think
So he
it
gets
would
the
be
private plane.
it would be an excellent hire. But as far as Liam Cohen's concerned, let me tell you something. A lot of people got a lot of bad taste in their mouth for what happened after a 1-year success. Like what happened in Carolina. Trust me, a lot of people are going to be thinking about that. Liam Cohen's probably going to not end up going anywhere. I seriously doubt he's going to he'll get an offer, but I don't think he's going to want to leave Tampa. But in my own words, I don't think it's the end of the world.
Well,
I just don't.
So you look at this several ways. Number one, it's not a nuclear secret that he was going to interview in Jacksonville and maybe a couple of other places too. So that's not a surprise. The next thing is the point you just made. Is it a better situation to go to one of those rebuilds, which might be like a 2 or more year rebuild, as opposed to sit tight and continue to build your brand, continue to ready yourself to be a head coach, whether that's somewhere else or whether that's maybe in Tampa Bay? It is not a nuclear secret, the phrase I love to use, that at this point, Todd Bowles has got to deliver on the defense being better and making progress towards winning playoff games again, because in these 3 playoff seasons, they've only won 1 game. Lest we forget that the Buccaneers fired Tony Dungy for not being able to win playoff games. They fired John Gruden, losing a playoff game in his second to last season and then failing to make the playoffs. So it's not as if they're not going to look at a successful coach and say, we need to do something else if it doesn't progress. So again, I don't know fully how all this is going to play out. You know, one of the things that strikes me is we sat here a couple of years ago off the playoff loss to the Cowboys, and Byron Leftwich was basically offered the job in Jacksonville and did not take it. It's actually 3 years ago in 2021 off the playoff loss to the Rams. He didn't take the job for the 2022 season, and part of that was because of the hesitation to not have his own personnel guy. Trent Baalke has been the GM. He's still apparently going to be the GM. And so Leftwich didn't take that job and ends up getting fired after the following year, after the Buccaneer problems, post Tom Brady with the offense and not being able to run the ball. So it's just kind of, it's ironic.
Hindsight's 2020. TJ?
It's ironic that Liam Coen is talking to the same guys off the Buccaneer offense, because you know, they are perpetually changing coaches too in Jacksonville. It's happened over and over and over again, and that's got to be a concern. While we're just laying it all out, that's got to be a concern if you're Liam Coen, that I get there, and after a honeymoon first season, we're allowed to be bad. If we're bad again in year 2, is the owner going to do this to me the same way that he's done it to several other coaches?
Makes sense.
Yeah, Shad Khan, a natural born villain from a James Bond movie. That's what he looks like with the mustache there, and of course Trent Baalke being the killer of coaches, killing Jim Harbaugh's career and now Doug Peterson. And I don't know why they keep this guy. It must be like a Jeff Fisher situation where he has pictures of somebody, and that's why he continues.
Peter is rolling. Peter is rolling tonight with the criticism and the problems.
Yes, there's
for different organizations.
Yes, plenty of problems with those organizations, and that's why I continue to say, you know, this best situation is here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think it's also a Ben Johnson deal where Johnson looked at the landscape of coaching and he said, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. I'll go ahead and take my chances in the next coaching cycle, and that may be what Coen does. Yes.
Yes, I'm listening to both sides there, but I'd love to come right down the middle. It's not often. These people get into coaching because their ultimate goal is to be a coach. Just like when you're playing football as a peewee player, you want to dream of playing the National Football League, and there's only a small percentage of people that do it. If an NFL team offers an OC a job, 99% of the times they're going to take the job. They're just going to take it because they have a chance to make a difference. This is what they've worked literally their entire life to do, to try to get into that position. And you really can't put blame on them to do that because they're just trying to better themselves and they're trying to make a name for themselves. Who knows what would happen? Liam Coen could be a lot better than the previous OC that went to Carolina. Okay, I mean let's talk about that. It could be so many different things, but I think the stars and the moons aligned here in Tampa Bay, and that's why they had that kind of success.
And then on top of it, to your point, Josh,
if he gets an offer, he's probably going to go. That's the
you mentioned Dave Canales. All right, so let's go back because that's a situation we're familiar with. It's fresh. They were a radioactive disaster looking for a coach, and they realized it's going to probably have to be somebody who really, like you just said, wants to be a head coach badly and is willing to walk into our radioactive disaster without a hazmat suit and live through this for the first couple of years. And lo and behold, they play the first couple of games of the season, and it looked like high school football.
It was
in Carolina. It was really bad. Now, look at what happened as the year went on. It got
better.
Yep, his staff, they began to figure some things out, play better ball, be more competitive, win some games down the stretch of the season. And so now that looks like a really smart move that he jumped. To your point, Harry, when the opportunity was there to go take the head coaching job, go take it.
At midseason, they're talking about firing Canales.
Well,
midseason, they were talking about firing him, and all of a sudden that ship righted out.
But they had done that during the season with the previous two head coaches, right back to back.
Yep.
So at some point, you got to stick with it, have some stability. And that's where it's important in Carolina's case that he had a relationship with Dan Morgan, the former Carolina Panther linebacker who had been with Canales in Seattle in the front office. And I'm sure that influence on the owner and kind of the go-between of saying, you got to give this time, you got to see if it can improve. And it did improve. So the long-winded point is he looked at that disastrous situation and said, I'm not passing up the chance to be a head coach. Plus, there is no expectation that we're going to be any good for the first year, and maybe not even for the first couple of years for how bad this is. That's kind of the same thing right now in Jacksonville. There's nobody in North Florida that expects that the Jaguars are suddenly going to be a playoff contending team. Are you kidding me? With how bad they've looked the last couple of years? So you basically go into that job understanding I get 2 years to demonstrate, especially in year 2, that I know what I'm doing and we can build around this thing. Whoever gets that job is going to get that.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has a better shot of being on a Head and Shoulders commercial than actually being a productive quarterback in the National Football League.
He's just bringing the zingers today, ain't he?
He's full of them. You do realize Trevor Lawrence led them to the playoffs and won a playoff game with a comeback 2 years ago.
That's true, but he underperformed that contract.
Now, you can say maybe he regressed and he's injury-prone. Those things are valid.
Right.
And that's another concern 2 years later.
I think he's had too many different coaches, and I think that's part of the problem is. And by the way, I also mentioned on a previous show, yes, I'm going to pat myself on the back, that this guy would never be a 500 quarterback or better. It's just
because also the organization
it's the dumpster fire that he got put into.
Yes. I mean, you go from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson, who had some, like you said, Trevor Lawrence and some stability there, taking him to the playoffs. And then after that, they just didn't improve on it. And I don't think they've given him enough. And then on top of it, being a franchise quarterback, you also have to take that next step of progression. You also have to be able to stay healthy, but it comes down to the organization putting the pieces around you. And they haven't done necessarily a lot of that. Go ahead, Harry. I'm sorry.
I still think that if the Carolina Panthers only would have won 2 games this year, they were looking for a new head coach this year.
Yeah. I disagree. I think that at some point somebody gets through to the owner of you cannot keep doing this. And if you get rid of this guy after 1 year, you might be looking, speaking of high school at the high school level, you might be looking at Mecklenburg County High School, if that even exists in Charlotte, as the next head coach, because nobody's going to come take this job.
No.
For you to keep deleting people after half a season or 1 season. You can't act like this is McDonald's where we're going through who's going to be on the fries and who's going to be on the drive-through headset tomorrow or next week. It's the NFL. At some point, you got to act like it's the NFL.
Some NFL franchises, unfortunately, they just take your order and that's it. And some of them will ask you, would you like the biggie size that?
That's right. Would you like to supersize it?
We're going to send your ass a jet plane private, and we're going to bring you up for an interview.
And of course, Mike McCarthy was loving it. We're on with the media icon.
Oh my God, another singer.
Along with Mr. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter here on the Sports Web on a happy Wednesday night edition. Well, maybe not necessarily happy hump day. with Levante David talking about stability there, what do you get from him? What did you see from him being on the sideline this year? What kind of player is he still at this point in a Tampa Bay Buccaneer uniform, TJ?
What a leader. What a leader. What a player. And look at him again the other night. I mean, he was all over the place.
Flying.
Making plays. So he looked like a 25-year-old. I would love to see him back. I shared this. I don't know if I shared this with you, Peter, after the game. I think I did, where I had a moment with him away from everything where I just said, please tell me that you're not, that this wasn't your last game, I believe is what I said. And he said, he looked up at me while sitting down and said, I don't think so. And I said, okay, whatever I don't think so means in the aftermath of a wild card loss, does that mean that he's ready to put his body through what's necessary this offseason to get to a training camp and a preseason, to be 34, 35 years old and playing again in the NFL for a 14th year? Let's see. But he certainly physically did not show any sign of slowing down. He got whacked right in front of me on the second to last play of the game in the ankle. And I don't know what his status would have been for the rest of the game or even for a divisional round game this weekend after taking that kind of shot on the ankle. Friendly fire, I think it was Logan Hall, right, that rolled into him standing there. But if that guy wants to be back, sign me up. Pay him whatever he needs to make. He is a leader in that room. He's a champion. From having won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, you could do a lot worse and build around him for one more year.
And by the way, this is not the first time
he dropped a step at all. He
No.
doesn't look like he slowed at all, TJ.
But I think it's also not the first time that Logan Hall has caused an injury, because I believe he was in on the Ryan Jensen play
Training camp, right?
Training
You're correct.
camp. So, yeah, I mean, it's a freak, situation. You hope David is good and hope he can come back, because he definitely is the leader of this defense. He is definitely a stable force for this team. As we look right now, TJ Reeves, you're the general manager. I make you Jason Light.
Oh,
Jason Light on 1/15 of 2025. In your opinion, what's the biggest need for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team in 2025?
first of all, you don't need me. Just listen to that guy. But I understand. I'm going to play out your premise and your scenario for the Sports Web audience. You got to get a pass rusher. Somehow, some way, an outside rusher's got to be there. You tried to draft one to blossom into something for this year in the second round in Chris Braswell. You have spent a previous number one pick on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. You also spent a mid-round pick on Yaya Diaby, but you've got to find somebody that can consistently win off the end. I'm talking about, forget about the blitz. I'm talking about 3 times out of 5, if not 4 times out of 5, if they're one-on-one, they are winning. Not necessarily winning with a sack, but winning with pressuring the quarterback, hurrying the quarterback, knocking the quarterback down. You got to find one of those. Diaby is about the closest thing you have to that. I don't know that Diaby wins 3 out of the 5 times. He usually probably wins 2, maybe 3 times out of 5 on some occasion. But you haven't had anywhere close to the outside pass rush help that you need. This is despite having Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey in the middle, causing the havoc that they're causing for this football team with the push through the middle. The outside has got to be better. Got to have a pass rusher. And I don't know that it's
get that many double teams out on the outside either, TJ.
Yes,
you're right. They don't get much
You
double
got to
teams.
win. I mean, you would stand down there game after game, and I would say they didn't win again on that whole series. Where that touchdown drive, where is the outside rush with somebody winning, somebody blindsiding the quarterback, get the ball out? Not nearly enough. You need another cover corner. You're going to have a cover corner. I said this before, and again, I'm not revealing things that Buccaneer fans that are savvy, that listen to this show, that listen to you guys, that pay attention to all this stuff. You're having to evaluate right now, is Jamel Dean worth what you've been paying, including with the injuries and the inability to stay healthy? Peter, we were talking about it after the game, the night after the game.
Yeah.
This is what you have to evaluate. For God's sake, you had to evaluate it with Shaq Barrett after last year, after all the heroics he had as a great pass rusher. You had to evaluate he's not worth what we have to pay him. And so you cut him for salary cap reasons. Same thing with Donovan Smith, who's the starting left tackle on the Super Bowl team. Say whatever you want. Donovan Smith goes to Kansas City and plays a couple of years with the Chiefs, but you made the same financial decision with him. It's the same one coming here. Are you getting whatever that contract is for next year? Are you getting $14, $15, $16 million worth?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Out of that, I mean, I think it's a hard time to justify that. And so let's see what they do. You've got to get a cover corner. You've got to get another one for this team. You have to. So there's two things I'd start with.
You don't necessarily have to draft that either, because even when you draft one in the first round, very few are lockdown corners in their first year. Very few. They have to develop. It takes a couple of years. But who knows? That waiver wire could come up. They could trade for somebody. That is definitely
free agency. Go sign one.
They can sign one, because let's be real. That is a definite need for this team. And then Todd Bowles could do what Todd Bowles does best. He can get after the quarterback a little bit more, because he has a little more, I guess, for lack of better words, a little bit more trust in his secondary to go ahead and lock him down a little bit more.
And
Absolutely,
I think that
great
also
point.
played a part in why sometimes Todd Bowles played some zone. I think that's the reason why
zone.
He played a lot of zone.
Yeah.
Too much zone.
Yeah.
It was a lot of zone. He had to, TJ. Yeah. He had to play this zone the last 6-7 games. It was, if he didn't, they were going to get burned for 6 on every other pass.
Yeah, but they were getting burned anyway for a lot of these different games, and including in the middle of the season. And that, it's going to have to get better.
They locked it down, though, from the 20 to 20. After the 20, that red zone was pretty damn good, TJ. And I'll say it again.
Listen, I don't take issue with the Greek very much, but I heard you saying this earlier tonight. The only thing with that, though, is you allowed the Commanders to control the game the other night, and you were really teetering with being eliminated if you couldn't get the ball one more time, and you didn't, and you let them burn a lot of the second half with playing the bend but don't break, not the aggressive stuff. And again, this goes back to it's hand in hand. If you can't rush the quarterback without blitzing, I get it. If you can't rush the quarterback and win without blitzing, then you've got to adapt in the back. For me, I got sick, and I think a lot of Buck fans did as well, of dropping 6 and 7 guys back, and there's people wide open in the middle of your defense.
Yep.
Whatever your reasoning behind playing the zone and whatever you're trying to do, maybe in combination that some guys are playing a man-to-man concept that looks like a zone and other guys aren't, and who's confused with who has who. And in the backfield, we saw too much of it again the other night, where they're confused in this case, 18th game of the season on who has who down the middle of the defense in a zone that is designed to not give that up. You're supposed to have people there that don't give that up. Man to man, you got to live with the fact that if you beat that guy, there's not supposed to necessarily be somebody there. Zone, there's supposed to be somebody there. If not two, somebody's there. If not, somebody, heaven forbid, jumps in front of the pass and picks it off, which we didn't see down the stretch of the season over and over again.
Are you talking about interceptions? God
interceptions.
TJ, you make a solid point, but that zone is designed to keep crap in front of you, okay?
Right.
Exactly what it's designed to do is keep it in front of you. Then that field gets pretty short from the 20 in. Tampa made a couple really good fourth down stops.
But you have to concede to me. You have to concede to me that as much as that was your philosophy and you may have been succeeding, Washington also said you're playing right into our hands. We're going to burn a lot of the second half. We're going to shorten the game. And then the final 4:41, we're going to run 10 plays on your defense and kill the entire end of the game and win the game with a field goal. Because they realized they're playing soft, they're playing back. This is how we can take away an extra possession or maybe 2 from the Buccaneers at home to keep them from winning the game, and they did it. You'd have to concede that was their plan. Yeah.
But great Baker also should have put one in the breadbasket on a handoff.
Agreed.
Sorry, that was bad timing. That was a piss. I don't care what anybody said. That was a piss poor play call. Never in a million years you want to get tricky there.
I don't come down so much on the play call. It's a safe play with him running by that they've run over and over again, and you botched it. You botched it on the timing, and it was costly because you had just gotten a first down and you're looking to move the ball. The only thing that I keep coming back to, and Peter, again, I keep referencing what we talked to you about that night after the game.
Yeah.
This is not Ernest Biner. I'm going to make Harry smile because he didn't hear it the other night. This is not Ernest Biner at the goal line with 20 seconds left in the AFC Championship game against Denver, where he fumbles, and that is what killed you, and they have never lived that down in Cleveland. You had a whole rest of the fourth quarter to play. You could have kept them out of the end zone. I'm not saying that you're saying this. You're not on trial. You don't have to raise your right hand and repeat after me. But you could have kept them out of the end zone, and you did not. That, by the way, in that zone, there's a receiver, McLaurin, wide open in the back of your zone from 5 yards away. How does that keep happening? Anyway, you have the ball again.
Right.
You drive down the field, and you need a touchdown to go up by 24-20, and you botch the third down play on the hard count where it confuses Graham Barton, and he snaps the ball, and nobody's ready, and 4 Commanders breach the backfield like it's McRib for a limited time only at McDonald's, and TJ's coming in. The Commanders were right on top of Bucky Irving immediately, and you have to kick a field goal.
Yes.
And again, I come back to there's a key drive with 4:41 left in the game where you have to get off the field and give the offense the ball back, or at the minimum, give them the ball back with time left, and you don't stop them. That has nothing to do with the fumble. I'm not saying that you do believe that had to do with the fumble. All of what I just described for that 60-second, 90-second filibuster happened after the turnover. The turnover did not cost you the game. What happened after the turnover
sure as hell helped it.
Well, it helped in that moment. If Baker Mayfield
they gave him the field. It's this big.
I understand. If Baker Mayfield doesn't hard count his own center into a fumble, if, and you get a touchdown, and the game is 24-20, where the Commanders have to have a touchdown, and you stop them, does anybody ever talk about that fumble again?
No, not at all.
And so I again submit, Mighty One, did the fumble cost you the game, or did what happened after the fumble cost you the game? Kalijah Kancey has Jaden Daniels dead to rights in the backfield.
Grabs his towel.
And grabs his waist and towel and gets stiff-armed by a 210-pound slender quarterback who slinks away and gets the first down to kill the remainder of the clock. Any hope to go win the game ends with him holding and waving the white towel. I submit again. Did that have anything to do with the fumble?
No.
There's a lot of series of events that occurred after that.
But the defense the point is the defense has shown, and I get it. The stats are there. They've done somewhat of a good job when it comes to the second half.
Let me go back to the divisional round against the Lions. Ton of plays made at the end of the game.
Yep.
There is more than a minute and a half remaining with the Bucs down by 8. And on a second down play, Baker Mayfield doesn't see the linebacker over the middle and fires one over the middle, I think, trying to find Godwin, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And it gets picked off by a linebacker, a line defender who had not had an interception all year. And it still sticks with me. That killed you. That ended your season. And he knew that.
Right.
Again, the jet sweep is not what ended your season. It's what happened after that. I'm piling on now.
And the defense was not, they've done this all year long. They haven't been able to get off the field at critical times. They weren't able to get off the field against Kansas City. They're not able to get off the field
Atlanta on the Thursday night.
Falcons on Thursday night.
San Francisco at home with the game tied. All you got to do is stop them.
Yes.
Yep.
And do I think it's all on Todd Bowles? I think somewhat schematically, but I also think it's injuries. I think it's players having to step up. And when you have to have Josh Hayes, who, I joked around, I'd rather have Isaac Hayes because,
another zinger, man.
What about if I implore Rutherford B. Hayes? Wait a minute, does Peter know Rutherford B. Hayes? Pop quiz. Do you know Rutherford B. Hayes? Do you know who he played for?
The president.
Very good. I tried to trick you and you came strong.
The president of the I'd rather have the president of the United States, Rutherford B. Hayes, than Josh Hayes. He may be a good player eventually. Rondé Barber turned out to be a Hall of Famer. He had some bumps in the road, but I felt like Josh Hayes was kind of like Tim Wansley on Monday Night Football, trying to defend wide receivers every given week. I mean, if you watch Tim Wansley.
To your point, all right, to your point about is it the coach, is it the players, whatever. We're late in the game. There's like 2 minutes left in the game. It's outside of the 2-minute warning. There's 3 minutes left in the game. It's a second down play. Jaden Daniels is lobbing to the left, and Yaya Diaby, who's 6'4" with long arms, is right in the way.
Yeah.
He's got to bat that ball down, if not pick that ball off. It was not well thrown. He's in position. You've dropped him back in the scheme. Here we go again with the scheme. He's got to make that play. He's right there. He not only doesn't bat it, it gets over him, and it's an 18-yard gain. Is that the coach? And again, we go back to Kalijah Cansey busting through. That you've got a chance to make the play. That's not the coach. So in the back and forth and the yin and yang and the give and take, you can't put it all at the feet of the coach.
And again, to quote a great mother of mine, who will absolutely
the only mother of yours,
only mother who always says it's not coaching, son. It's execution by the players. The players are not executing. And I'm like, it's more than that. And she's exactly right. It was that all year long, the execution.
Well, coaches can put you in position to succeed. There's no doubt.
Of course.
I mean, coaches can improve you. I mean, there's example after example. Sean McVay shows up in Los Angeles with the same personnel and with Jared Goff at quarterback, and this has never happened before. They went from 32nd in the NFL on offense to number 1 in 1 year with the same guys because coaching matters. Coaching absolutely matters, good and bad, with how you're going to get more out of your guys or not, improve them, adjust, adapt or not. Coaching does matter, but ultimately it is a players' league, a players' game, and the players have got to make the plays. And I'm encouraged because offensively for this team, loaded quarterback that can get people the football. How fun was this year? We kept saying it last week on your show with all that you saw.
Yes.
The reason that you were in the playoffs, the reason that you got to this point was the epic year for Buccaneer offense, including running the ball, which we haven't seen in years for this team. They figured it out. They have players. There's no doubt.
And Harry was screaming at the top of the rooftops the previous 2 years. They don't run the ball. They don't run the ball. They don't run the ball. And now they run the ball. And he's like, I told you. That's what I was saying. And Bucky Irving and Rashad White and Sean Tucker for a couple weeks there. It was fun. And
you upgraded at center with a very talented, athletic center who could help make blocks. You improved at left guard as well. And that unit is young, and you have a lot of optimism with what they're going to be able to do. Bucky Irving, tremendously explosive back. I thought unsung in this game, Washington was winning up front for a lot of the game defensively. Up front, they were clogging up the holes, stymieing the Buccaneers, pressuring Baker Mayfield. They were winning without blitzing. That's the point. And they have 3 number 1 picks playing up there in the middle. Defensive tackle and defensive end Farrell. So Deron Payne, Farrell on the outside, and who's the other one that's escaping me? Jonathan Allen is the other one.
Allen,
Those are all 3 number 1 picks, and they played like it the other night. And Payne even went out of the game with the broken finger, but they were winning, Harry, at field level. They were winning at the line of scrimmage. And again, I've seen some of the game back on TV, and NBC was pointing it out as well that up front they were handling the Buccaneers without having to blitz, and it frustrated them, and it limited the number of possessions and the number of chances in that game.
Listen, I know you got to get. Go ahead, Harry.
You would have seen a lot less from that rush coming from the
Washington's
defensive line if Tampa would have did something that he did so successful. A lot of screens. Let's run a little more sweeps. I didn't see a screen in the game.
Or the draw play.
You gotta hold them back. But when you could pin your ears back and go after a quarterback, it can make it dangerous for anybody.
Listen, I know
you had some penalties, you had some problems, but in the end, you can't bellyache. The Commanders were better when the game was on the line, right down to the lucky doink. So somebody was saying to me today that's not even in the market, that's out of the market. He said, you do realize that football was going sideways when it hit the goalpost. He had a wobbly kick going at the goalpost, and it nicked the inside of the goalpost while it was sideways.
Yeah.
The oblong ball and still went in. I mean, it was It was weird to watch that, and I could hear the doink, and then you have like a split second where you're like, is that going to bounce out? Where did it go? It's dark. Where did it go? Did it go inside the upright? Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy how it ends.
When he hit the top upright, I was like, please be a double doink. Please.
Yeah, maybe even another double doink like you had in, in Chicago.
Please,
look, I'll leave you with this, and I'm happy to be back at a later date and a later time on the sports web.
Yes.
Don't get too down on this season and on winning. It still stings right now, but when you reflect on 6 wins out of the last 7 games, Buccaneer fans, when you reflect on the offensive output, the historic output on offense that we went over last week, 70+% completion percentage and 5 yards of carries, never been done in the NFL. Number 1 team on third down, 503 points. 9 games this year where you took your opening drive and went and scored a touchdown. Doesn't even count the ones that you went down and kicked a field goal on. So you have a lot to look forward to. Let's see what happens with Liam Coen or not. But there's a lot to be optimistic about. And you're in the playoffs yet again this year. You've got a winning culture. You've got a lot of quality guys in that room. And let's just see what happens in this offseason. In Jason Light, we trust with his staff. And before we know it, it'll be free agency, the draft, and we'll be talking about 2025, guys.
Absolutely. And of course, there's also the return of Gene Deckerhoff at 80 years old.
Mean Gene still has it. Love him. I was hoping for a deep playoff run for him as well. 50th year of the franchise, by the way, coming up. The man is the soundtrack of everything that has gone on, and it's just a thrill to be around all this. And I can't wait to do it again. It's a sour taste right now, even days later. We were coming home from dinner tonight. The wife of the twins and I were coming home from dinner tonight, and we were driving northbound on one of my faves, the Veterans Expressway, except we pay the same as a car payment, I think, to drive that thing every month. But we're driving northbound, and I'm looking over at Raymond James Stadium with the blinking lights on it for the planes and stuff, and going, we're not back there until this fall. It's truly over. It's truly over until we get back for 2025. It ended. But there's a finality for every team except for one that gets to hold the Lombardi Trophy. Some go longer, obviously, go into a conference championship game or into the Super Bowl. But for everybody, it ends this way. And for the Bucs, it was tough because unexpectedly it ended bang at home. But I credit Washington as well, and we'll see if they give the Eagles fits on Sunday. Stay tuned.
And it's mostly the reason why I stayed there over 2:00 in the morning, because I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to camp.
I didn't even check back. You were there another 45, 50 minutes after I left you at about 10 after 1, and they didn't turn the lights out on you. You were still there.
They had Sunday Night Football still packing up, and they're like,
you did not get evicted at 2 a.m. after a playoff loss. But hey, if you're saying goodbye for the season, it's the long goodbye, Harry, like the movie, The Long Goodbye. It was the long goodbye.
There you go.
Night from Peter on the sports web.
Yeah, over 2:00 in the morning.
Listen, great to be with you guys. Keep rocking the night. If you need me during the college basketball season, you know where to find me. Buccaneers, free agency, etc. I am around. I'm around, and I'm happy to come on whenever you need me.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Mr. TJ Reeves, the media icon of the Buccaneer Radio Network. We appreciate your time here on the Evolution. All right?
All right, boys.
All right. Have a really good evening, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
all right, we'll see you later.
Let's get him out of here. Let's go out to the phone lines here. All the way from Canada, Mike DeRoche. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Is that Mike?
Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing better. Thank you.
Hi, Mike.
Good,
How
man.
you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Only have one question. What next?
Well, I mean, it's the great question. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Liam Coen's interviewing with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we'll see if he decides to take an offensive coordinator job and go from there. And then, of course, it comes down to who could you lose out of that front office? Could it be Spytek? Could it be Mike Greenberg? Could it be somebody else? Does Todd Bowles make some changes to the coaching staff, which I think you could definitely make a case for in that secondary? Do the Glazers step in? Do they go to Todd Bowles and like Lovie Smith and say, we want you to make some defensive changes? Is there a possibility where, you take the pressure off of Todd Bowles. And I know he loves to call the defense, but maybe you go out and get a defensive coordinator. And then when all that is said and done and you get your coaching finality, if you will, Leo word, then you go into the combine. You go into the draft, you look who you're going to go and evaluate, and then you got free agency, and then you got the draft coming up. So, the football season is never over. For a couple weeks, you're going to have to endure the fact of watching other teams in the playoffs. I get that, Bucs fans. I get that wholeheartedly. It's tough to watch, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's been a good run this year. It's been a good run for the last 5 years, and you being a
lot of fun this year.
Yeah, a lot of fun and a lot of great excitement. And it's disappointing that it ended like that, and that's not what we wanted. But we'll get over it. And for me, you're in a better place right now, and I feel like somebody died and they're in a better place. It's not like that, right? The Bucs are in a better place because 2025 there's going to be so much excitement and so many young players and so much to look forward to. And then on top of it,
sound like a funeral. It's like we're saying,
well, it does.
May their season's memory be eternal.
It's a eulogy here on the sports web on a happy hump day. And Ralph, I see you in the background there. Stay patient. We'll get to Turnbuckle Talk. I want to talk to my Bucs fans here. But for a while, you're not going to have to talk about games, but we will talk about rumors. And you know this, Mike. We've done this for years. How many years? I think it's 2019 or 2018. We started this show with Bucs Report, and now doing our own thing and NSPN and Bucs Life now. It's been a beautiful thing, and Notoriety Sports there for a while for a cup of coffee. We always talk about rumors. We always try to get you the breaking news. It's kind of more difficult now that I'm working my sales job at the office, so I can't just jump into my studio anytime I want to. But we got you. We got you covered, man. You know this.
I just want to say on a personal note, thank you to you, Harry, for the kind words during my struggle.
Brother, we love you here, man. We love you. You're a big part of what the sports web is all about, man. It's always about the lifeblood and whether you're in Canada, whether you're in North Carolina or California or Costa friggin' Rica or the UK, you are a major part of what the sports web is all about. That is about the Tampa Bay sports fan, especially the Tampa Bay Bucs fan.
Go Bucs. Thank you.
Go Bucs, man. We love that. Love that. Good stuff. Yeah, and I know he's going through some things, man. And you know what? I hope that this show, overall, whatever you're going through, whether it's personal, whether it's financial, whether you hate your job and you come on here and you get a laugh because I'm zinging everybody tonight, I hope that takes your mind off of it, because that's what sports is all about. Let's go out to this guy right here. Let me go ahead and get his intro.
Damn it, Jim! What the hell is the matter with you?
Jim from Ohio. Welcome to the Evolution.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
You guys, listen, man. I heard a fan talking about, man, he's been there since day one, since he was 7 years old or something.
Yeah, 7, 8 years old. I've been here since I was 8 years old. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. He was just saying that, man, he used to have to go watch the games and get us, we get our butts whipped. And, I got in just for Warren Sapp and them, so I seen them get their butt whipped too. So we need to try to keep everything this core together, especially coaches, and give them another year. Stop trying to throw away Todd Bowles, some of these, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, if you
right,
and if you try to throw away Todd Bowles or you try to fire, the coach of this team, then you're starting over again. And I understand.
Let's not start over.
Right. Who wants to start over again? Who wants to have
a new? He also said we got some of the youngest team in the league. I didn't even realize that.
Yes, you got a very young team. Jason Light is responsible for that.
6 youngest in the league. So let Jason Light work this off season, and let's hopefully we can get back and get better.
Right now, as it sits, how concerned are you losing Liam Coen?
We can keep Liam Coen. I want to keep both of the coaches.
Okay, so you're not concerned about losing him at all. You don't think he'll take another coaching job?
No, I hope he stays. I don't see why he'd go to another team and he got to start over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
I think he'll stay, but if somebody throws some money at him, I don't know.
Who's the biggest? What's the biggest need right now? Is it edge rusher? Is it middle linebacker? Is it corner? Or is it something else for this team right now as we sit?
Yeah, we need secondary guys, they keep getting hurt. And then, edge rushers,
Okay.
at least one. Hopefully, I don't know if they keep Shaq Barrett.
Well, they could. They could definitely at a moderate rate, if you will, a lower price. And I think Shaq would want to play here and it's not going to be major money, but he's made his money over time. Is he the same player he was 5 years ago? Of course he's not. But can you use him as a rotational piece? Can you use him as a veteran presence in that locker room to teach these young guys that possibly could be coming in? Absolutely, you could. What do you think about? And I know, yeah, go ahead.
I think we'll get a couple of young guys in the draft.
Sure.
Let Jason Light work this off season.
That's it. And, you're exactly right.
Keep them veteran guys. I like Shaq Barrett and them. Let them kind of wing them in.
Yeah.
That's all we can do, man. Hopefully, we keep everybody. I'm not trying to get rid of nobody, especially Todd Bowles. I don't understand. If people act like they forget he was in the Super Bowl team and all that.
Well, he's a defensive coordinator of that. You're actually absolutely correct. You're right. So, all right, Jim. Anything else here? All right, man.
All I got to say.
I appreciate you.
I'm keep Todd Bowles clan.
Yep. There you go. Let me give you your sound effect.
Damn it, Jim. What the hell's the matter with you?
Use that second call if you want to, Jim. Okay. You wanted to hear his sound effect. All right, Greek. We'll get you out of here on that. So go ahead and give me some final thoughts here on the sports web. I know you want to give out some picks. I don't know if you feel froggy. Maybe we'll do the over-under coming back playoff edition. Maybe.
Under what?
Over-under. The show we used to do about gambling picks and stuff like that?
I don't know anything about gambling.
Oh, no, you don't know anything. How'd you do this week, jerk?
I don't. Yeah, I made a few shekels.
You made a few shekels? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Pete. It was a very interesting evening. I do appreciate you having me on. A lot of great comments out there, some decent phone calls. Just wish people wouldn't get so into their feelings. Didn't know I was going to create that kind of stir, but you know what? It happens. I see you, Ralph, in the back room.
Yeah,
Ralph,
see you, Ralph.
You're good people.
Ralph. Yes.
I'm going to let you go because I know you want to get there and start talking about my favorite subject, and that is
Turnbuckle talk.
Oh,
yes, but we are going to read. Ralph, you're going to have to hold up because I want to read all these comments first.
Will you bring him in? Let him read them when he's in there.
I can't. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll bring Ralph in. We'll read some of these comments together, and then we'll talk Turnbuckle talk, okay?
Sounds good. Peter, everybody out there, thank you. Have a really good evening.
Yes.
And you know what? Let's settle down about this fire Todd Bowles thing. Because Liam Coen is not the answer to be the head coach of this team. I hope I made some sense. If I pissed you off, good. Have a really good night.
All right, there you go. Harry the Greek right there. The Greek doing Greek things. Love that. And I know he loves this too. Let's go! In fact, I'm going to put him back in here. Here you go.
Let's go! Straight off the suck right there!
The green curse is over.
I hate you.
There you go. How about that? All right. So we're back. Let's go. I know he loves that. All right. Yes, we got open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Ralph, what's up, buddy? How you doing tonight here on the Evolution?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm safe and sound here. I don't know if you're aware, but 2 days after Christmas, there was a shooting in the building here. We had a SWAT situation.
Oh, my God.
And it was a floor down from my apartment. And, but my family's safe here, so we're good.
Well, good, man. I know, thank God that you're good. That situation was real scary. At the end of the day, it's always great to hear from a friend that's doing great in that situation. I know that you've been very critical of Mike Tomlin. A lot of fans are very critical of Todd Bowles. Where do you stand on Mike Tomlin? And do you kind of relate the same situation to what fans are saying with Todd Bowles?
It's the same thing. Todd Bowles probably isn't going anywhere. I can tell you that. Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere either. He still has 2 years left on his contract. I believe there's just some stories out there. His son is in the final 2 years of at the University of Pennsylvania. Rumor has it that as soon as he graduates, which will be the 2 years that Mike Tomlin still has left on his contract, that he's going to walk away after 20 years of coaching. So, we'll see. That's all I can say. And I know the Steeler fans want Mike Tomlin fired. It's not going to happen. Please stop drinking the Kool-Aid that you think he's going to be fired. And you folks down in Tampa, if you think Todd Bowles is going to be fired, I don't think so. I think Todd Bowles probably needs to get some better coaches in there. And as I heard you mention, or someone mentioned there, that, maybe the owner needs to go talk to Todd Bowles and say, hey, look, you need to bring in a quality defensive coordinator and focus on coaching the team, which is what Mike Tomlin needs to do too. So,
all right, very strong comments by Ralph Williams.
It's the same thing, just two different teams. Same.
Well, I would say this. I think Mike Tomlin deserves a little bit more grace because he has done it consistently. Yes, he's only won one Super Bowl? Is it one Super Bowl for you guys?
Yeah, one Super Bowl with Cars players.
Well, it's still one Super Bowl, and then consistently, he always gets the most out of his teams. Yes, he hasn't won any more than one Super Bowl, but consistently they are a playoff team. But I do understand it. All right. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to read some comments here, and then we'll talk some turnbuckle talk. Good evening to you, Tim. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Cole, we came out flat on both sides of the ball. You watched the Washington game. Do you think they were flat, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, I think they were competitive. It was down to the wire. I mean, I don't see how they came out flat. I mean, Baker Mayfield always puts up a good effort regardless of the situation. He's a gritty quarterback that should have never left or been cut by Cleveland, and you guys are lucky to have a guy like him. And and Liam Coen, I don't know. I hope he doesn't take another coaching job. I hope he stays. I'd hate to see Baker Mayfield go through another offensive coordinator and another offense.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a completely great point because it can ruin a quarterback's development.
Yes,
although
absolutely.
I think Baker's comfortable in this offense, but you don't want to see that happen because it's just not good. I can hear it. Appreciate it. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go!
Now you got to enjoy the soundboard right there. Go Bolts and go Rays now. Absolutely. Christopher Cole still have a chance to win. More money, get a head coaching job. Eric, you continue to harp on this about the money aspect. I get that, but money isn't all. It's not going to it's not going to cover up the fact that you're going to a bad situation. Jacksonville
it has to be
is
the right situation, Peter.
Correct.
It really does.
Jacksonville is a bad situation. The Raiders are a bad situation. The Cowboys are a bad situation. The Jets are a bad situation. Like, I get it. Everybody's, we're going to give him money and he'll go for it. He'll jump. Maybe that's not his motivation. No. Like, I always talk to people about this all the time. Like Jordan Whitehead, right? Going to the Jets. He got more money. Did that necessarily work out in his favor? Well, money aspect, but did it work out for his career? Not so much. And then he came back to the Bucs. So, again, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I understand the thought process of, well, he's going to get some more money and they may overpay him and all this other stuff. Good luck if you go to Jacksonville because that situation is... And that's what I think about it. Good Wednesday evening to you, Darlene. Absolutely appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Tim here. Trent Baalke would scare me to death. I mean, he's a coach killer. He might be interviewing right now. He may be. Blake, absolutely. Bucs basement. If we lose Coen this offense, you're playing a game of Russian roulette by making the offense a rotating door of schemes. Bulls is going to come out with a dud. And then what? It's a good point. Then we have to restart from scratch. Brand new head coach, OC, and DC. They should have went for it after Washington was offsides on the first drive, the field goal there. And I believe ESPN said, did you think they should have went for the fourth down there, that 4th and 3 later on? Because there's a percentage out there, analytics, 57%. If you are able to go for it, more than likely you'll get it. Did you like the decision by Bowles to go for the field goal, or would you have liked to see him go for that 4th and 3?
Well, it all depends on what your thought process is on the sidelines. I mean, if you think you can get it, you're going to go for it. If you have confidence in your offense to get it, then you're going to go for it. But if you are the type that'll say, okay, I don't want to gamble. I don't want to be a Dan Campbell. What I want to be is a coach that's going to at least know that I got 3 points possibly coming. I would rather have 3 points than have nothing. You know, and you can get burned on 4th and 3. You can get burned on any 4th down play you go for. I've seen John Harbaugh in a Steeler game get burned so many times because he tries to go for it on 4th down. Dan Campbell has even gotten burned a few times. So you get your chances of getting burnt doing that is big time.
Yeah, it is. And you get no points at that point. You give the momentum back to the other team. Then again, if you go for it, you're successful, then you take control.
Kicker, go for it. Go for the 3 points. If you don't have a good kicker, then you go for the 4th down. I mean,
he's usually automatic. Bucs basement, rather than keeping Coen, finally having continuity on the offensive side of the ball. Bucs basement, it's going to be a huge mistake if they let Coen walk, because if the offense regresses and Bowles picks a dud OC, he does not fix the defense, who will be fired next season. But again, if Coen does leave, which I don't think he does, but let's say he does, it will be an attractive position for an offensive coordinator out there because of the plethora, Leo word, of weapons that this team has. So I get what you're saying.
You have guys out there that have been probably got fired because of a coach getting fired. I'll throw a name out there. You got Alex Van Pelt sitting out there. He just he was with New England staff, and Jared Mayo got fired. So he's sitting out there. So you got a few other names possibly sitting out there as well.
Yep. Also, even if everything is fixed, the saying "you can't teach an old dog new tricks." What is it going to fix? Todd Bowles' this horrendous game management, 1-score game record. It's a good point. Bucs basement makes some great points. Liam Coen should stay in Tampa Bay to head coach. Carissa, thank you very much for the comment. As you have become a regular viewer on this show, we appreciate that. They're on Facebook. Of course, Facebook stars are out there. If you love the content, I appreciate it. Michael Hulk, the other night, 1,000 stars. Sitting, I believe, some stars out there. Appreciate you guys. Tulio, if Spytek goes to the Raiders, he's going to want to pick up Coen and his coaching staff. It's a great point. They're absolutely going to try to do that, especially with Tom Brady as a minority owner. Also, YouTube super chats are available. So good point there. We'll see how it works out. I mean, that's what you get sometimes when you have a great front office like this Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization has, is, teams start to want to make make the other guys their general managers and stuff like that. AWJ looked lost and rusty. He did. The Glazers are going to have to make a choice. Either it's Bulls, make changes to the defense staff, or risk losing Coen and starting again with a new offensive coordinator system. KR also says Baker would have to learn another system when he's going to have to break and have some consistency. You say Todd Bowles' job is in jeopardy. Why do you say that?
I don't think so. I never said that.
What says Todd Bowles' job is in jeopardy?
No, I never said that at all. No, I said, is it in jeopardy? That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Said, is it in jeopardy?
Do you think it is? Do you think it is?
I don't think it is. I mean, it could be. I don't know. Surprises are imminent. I mean, people, there's surprises every day. The Glazers could pull out a surprise and say you're fired. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But I doubt it. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think Bowles is going to stay there. Is Bruce Arians still with the organization?
He is in some type of role, consultant role. Absolutely.
I think as long as Arians is there, I think Bowles will be there. That's my thoughts.
Good point. Speaking of the fumble, I believe that
Arians walks, and if Bowles has a messed up season, I think he's done.
Okay. Speaking of the fumble, I believe that McMillan wasn't even expecting the handoff. It didn't look like he was. Tim says if a team didn't have issues, they would need a new coach. You're almost never going to go into a great situation. Tim says Bowles is 61. He's not going to change one thing. He thinks he's doing it the right way. Dave says when you have a good pass rush, it helps the secondary a lot. Good point. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin says what's new that Bowles can bring to the future of the Bucs. Bowles has been giving up passing yards since the Rams NFC Championship game with Brady, NFC divisional game. Of course, remember the blitz. Again, that's on players, but we've seen it with the communication breakdowns and zone defense. And we've talked about it. Can that change? I don't know.
Hey, we're having we have the same problems here in Pittsburgh. I mean, the Steelers communication breakdown. We have the highest paid defense in the league. And look, we can't stop a pass play. We can't stop the run. So
we'll take TJ Watt off your hands. Do we take that? What do you take?
Well, you know what? If you watched his closing press conference, he was quite frustrated. He said, "I want to win, and if I have to do like my brother and try to move on, I might just do it." And he's frustrated right now. He's very frustrated.
All right,
but know what's interesting though?
What's up?
He kind of regressed a little bit this year because there were a lot of teams double and triple teamed him, but there were a lot of teams did not. And at the times that they did not, he should have took advantage of that, and he did. And I know he was playing with an ankle injury. He had, and maybe a few banged up injuries here and there. He had an elbow injury in the Ravens game, but still, I mean, the guy, one-on-one, he's the best blitzer in the entire league. But he didn't show it this year, and a lot of guys didn't show up this year. Minka Fitzpatrick didn't either.
All right. Well, and that's what happens. It's not always on coaching; it's on players themselves. That they don't show up if they don't execute. As my mom would always say.
But it's up to the coach to motivate him too, Peter, because Mike Tomlin lets these guys get away with too much. If you watched Hard Knocks on HBO, and I don't know if you did. They focused on the AFC North, so the Steelers were on there. I saw Mike Tomlin walking around, players sitting around. He's walking around, giggling and laughing with them. You know what? You have a 5-game losing streak. You're about to go into the playoffs on a 5-game losing streak, and you're walking around smiling and giggling and laughing with players. No, to me, that's unacceptable.
Okay, strong comments there. Bowles has been giving up passing yards since the NFC division. The Bucs have to address the outside pass rush and cornerback positions this draft. Hope Levante comes back for one more season. Devin White not panning out hurt a lot because he was supposed to be eventually the future, but the Bucs have moved on, of course, from him. And now you have to figure out.
Peter, the Steelers did what you guys did. You brought back Jordan Whitehead. We brought back Cam Sutton, and Cam Sutton blew it, man. He laid an egg in the last 3 or 4 games he played in. I mean, bad, not running the right routes with the wide receivers, not covering them right in the wrong place where he was supposed to be. That's what happens when you get suspended for 8 games.
Doesn't work out. Russ says, let Baker be a quarterback OC, call his own plays. Russ, I don't think that's going to happen. When Cohen's been good all year, Bowles has been making boneheaded decisions. Of course, you're going to hear about Bowles over Coen. Christopher Cole, Tucker needed to run the ball some too. Andres on YouTube, thank you very much. So many injuries. Josh Hayes can't play defensive back, no linebacker. I can't blame Bowles on that. Agree. Christopher Cole, defense only allowed 16 points because of that fumble. Andres, you can only coach players so much, but if players don't get it, like Britton Hayes, then as a coach, you're limited. Now, what says Mike DeRoche? Bryson says Bucs fans need to stop blaming the defense. Dustin, why do we blitz all the time when we don't have the cornerbacks to cover? It's a great question, but they also play a lot of zone a lot of the time. Let's face it, the talent on D wasn't there this season, playing with backups and practice squad players mixed with starters. You're going to have communication issues, then outside rush isn't making it to the quarterback. It's a recipe for subpar defense. Todd Bowles, I think he says, Ed, sorry, man, but even with our defense being weak, they did make 4th down stop and gave the offense a chance. This loss was on the offense. Russ, should Bucs part ways with Bowles? No. Mike, sign Godwin. That's the other decision they're definitely going to have to make. I will say this. I think that Jason Light and Chris Godwin will come to some type of mutual agreement. And then on top of it, teams may, Godwin is a talented player and he's unbelievable on and off the field. But because of that injury situation, I don't think he's going to nearly get as much as a lot of people anticipated. So I think that
they can work out a reasonable contract on both ends.
Yes.
He's been hurt, and I think that the team knows that, and we'll see what happens. It could work.
And why would you want to leave this offense? Why would you want to leave Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield and Jalen McMillan? The future is bright. 2 4th down stops, including on Washington's first drive of the game. Dave, I don't want another coaching change. What comes with that? System changes with players. They don't fit the new coaches. System the first year, and then drafting players for the new system the following year. So you put yourself in a 2-3 year wait and see. Russ says Bucs need about 2 or 3 more playmakers. Good point. right there by Russ.
Oh, yeah.
Dave says Tampa Bay has some good pieces in place now. If the right ones are added the next season, there will be in a great spot to make another Super Bowl run. Christopher Cole, Bucs offense only had 7 plays on their first 3 drives. Excuse me. Russ, can we bring Leftwich back? No, we're not doing that at all.
He's up again for some coaching jobs again. I don't even know what he's doing.
We're not bringing back Leftwich.
How about new?
I don't know what this is. Okay, great. Congratulations. I don't know why you're giving your number here. Jason will get Bowles, his players to improve the defense the offseason. I have faith. Dave, I love the fans that are calling for a total rebuild. Really? Yeah, exactly. Like, what are we talking about here, guys? Total rebuild?
Don't make the mistake, Peter, that the Steelers made. They paid all their money out on defense and didn't pay enough out on offense to get some really good people in here. And, some better people, we have the highest paid defense in the NFL, and we can't stop a simple pass play. I mean,
Jason Garrett to the Bucs. No. Still got to play and beat teams outside the division.
Job.
Yeah, exactly. Deion Sanders to the Bucs. No. MH, there are more Todd Bowles caliber defensive coordinators. Bryson says no. Dustin says 6th in sacks is a cool stat, but look at the teams most of those sacks came against. Russ, Daniel's most athletic quarterback in the NFL, better than Lamar Jackson. Russ, I don't know what you're smoking. He may be athletic, but he's not a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
It's his first year in the league. I mean, and the only reason he's a good quarterback is because of Cliff Kingsbury. That's the only reason, you know what I mean? So, I mean.
No, listen, I think he could be as good or maybe better than Lamar.
Right.
But to say he's
Down the
better
road.
than Lamar right now, yeah.
No.
There's a lot of villains in that loss. Absolutely. Dave, I agree with Terry. The end around was a dumb play. Should have gone to Bucky. Dustin, Coen took a run game that was last in the past 2 seasons, brought it to where it is now, but the Bucs were 6th in sacks. Were the Bucs? Yes, the Bucs were 6th in sacks. Or should I say dangerous, not dumb? Eric, should we fire Todd Bowles? Detroit will have trouble with Jaden Daniels, as every team will. McMillan didn't know he was going to get the ball there because he looked back when he felt the ball. Baker took the blame because he didn't want to throw the rookie under the bus. Eric, Detroit will whip their butt. I believe you're saying I got Rams, Chiefs, Super Bowl prediction. Bryson says I agree. MH, who replaces Liam if he leaves? Good question. I think we should get rid of Baker. What? Huh? Why?
Well, I tell you what, man, these guys are tough. I thought Steeler fans were tough, man. Look at it. Oh, my gosh.
41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions.
I wish we had Baker Mayfield.
You want to get rid of Baker Mayfield.
How about you?
What else can I do?
Oh, my God. Who the hell cares?
Are you serious? Come on, Eric.
Too much ocean air or something.
Oh, Harry must be so happy the soundboard is working. I know he is. Bing and Cousins. Eric, we could have beat the team if we did just had our defense healthy. We would have been in the Super Bowl. Again, there's things that happen. They're not. They had a dynamic offense, defense, not so much. Can we also say some of the fans have been spoiled the last 5 years? Great one. Harry, what drugs are you smoking? Brady's not escaping the pocket. Trevor, hell yeah. TJ's in the building. Greek needs a drink. Dave, Sun Devil Dave, I agree with Peter. Tom Brady in 2024 would not be successful with this offense. He can't extend plays like Baker Mayfield. Correct. Roger, the evil eye on the laptop. Eric, I know you have to pull it up every next season. Pull it up every. I don't know what he's saying there. I appreciate the success of the Bucs to 10 years ago. We were the laughing stock of the league. Now we're constantly in the playoffs. I'll take it, damn it. Absolutely, you will take it.
Yeah, baby.
Absolutely, you will take it. Huh?
Real quick here.
Yes.
Boise State, their offensive coordinator this year, it was Dirk Cutter. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
Dirk Cutter was their offensive coordinator.
Dirk Cutter. Yeah, that worked out, Bucs fans. Again, Liam Coen, Dirk Cutter, different situation. Yeah. But the problem is you don't know. Like, I love what Liam Cohen's done for the offense, but he's an offensive coordinator. Now you're going to have to be a head coach. Now you have to do more than just call.
I wouldn't want that responsibility. I'd stay as an offensive coordinator and enjoy it.
Best chance in Super Bowl to run it back with Liam wants to stay. Bowles gets another chance with a young defense becoming vets, and defensive problems are fixable at edge, cornerback, and outside linebacker. MH, good comment there.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't know what to make of Lawrence. He shows flashes, but then looks terrible. Plus, he's not going anywhere because he signed a few more years. Would Coen want to take the chance? Exactly. Right? TJ says sitting. Mike D. Roche, why would Coen leave the Bucs, a winning organization? Trevor, Peter is firing shots tonight. I am firing shots tonight. We'll go out to Sun Devil Dave. Sun Devil Dave, welcome to the evolution here, talking about the Bucs, and again, getting into turnbuckle talk. So what's on your mind? We got the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Go.
What's going on, guys? Great job as always.
Yeah, great job.
Happy New Year.
I'm totally bummed and upset, but I think overall, I don't know what these guys are talking about. There was a comment about getting rid of Baker. Seriously?
Well, there was a comment there. I think somebody's trolling because you're not going to get rid of Baker Mayfield after having 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. That's completely and totally asinine. What are we talking about here?
I mean,
come on.
Do you see?
Stop it.
Would you rather have Baker than Herbert or Darnold or Wilson?
No, I don't want any of those guys. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. I don't care about Sam Darnold. I don't care about Russell Wilson. Sorry, Ralph.
I would have took Baker over Russell Wilson any time of the day.
Everybody would have taken. And Justin Herbert at this point, everybody talks about how great he is. But what did he do against the Houston Texans? Not so good. Yeah, not good.
You look at
he's done nothing.
I mean, wouldn't you have Baker over any of these guys, whether it's
right,
even Derek Carr? I mean, you're looking at the division.
Yeah, Derek Carr. No, I don't want that either. No.
Any of the. I mean, just looking at anywhere, I think Baker. He's top quarterback.
Yeah,
top 5, right?
Right.
Overall, I mean,
absolutely, with the numbers
stats,
and everything like that.
Rate,
yes,
extending plays.
Yes,
touchdowns.
Yes,
completion percentage. I mean, look at him. I mean, yeah, he had one miscue. If you look at his QBR and his rating for the game, I mean, he looked really good. I think he had like a 110 overall rating. His QBR was like 62.
Yep.
I mean, overall, I think he managed the game really well. I mean, if you look at the last drive, I mean, the defense gave up a 2nd and 10. They gave up another like a 3rd and 6. They gave up some big chunk plays to that guy Brown.
Yeah.
One.
Sound like Tom Brady chunk plays.
Yeah, chunk plays. Yeah, exactly.
Chunk plays.
Yeah.
That's all he says on the
guy Brown. He did nothing for like all year, and then all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, this guy comes out of nowhere.
Yep, De'Ami Brown, their wide receiver. Yeah, it's been a big time key for them, and it's the reason why this Bucs defense is not good. Besides Dion McCollum, as soon as Jamel Dean went out in the game, it was a different defense, whether you like Dean or not. You put Josh Hayes there. I'd rather see Isaac Hayes or Rutherford B. Hayes than Josh Hayes. So
he was an ex-president, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yes, we did that tonight with TJ. Yes, TJ threw that out there tonight, so I'm going to steal it from TJ.
Can I call back for turnbuckle talk?
Absolutely, you can. Yes, we'll get into that in just a moment. I want to, Dave. Appreciate you as always. I want to continue to read these comments because I don't want to neglect you guys. Ralph, be patient. Peter's firing shots tonight. Alex, stop being cheap and investing in good players. I feel bad for Canales. I was firing all kinds of shots tonight. Mike D. Roche, head coaching jobs don't come along as often as you think. So take the shot sometimes. Trust me, living in Charlotte area, being close to the Panthers, the fans hate the owner in the dumpster fire. He's made the team. He is Dan Snyder 2.0.
This guy sucks.
Dave says, thank you, TJ. Preach. Mike, Dean must go. Injury prone. No, Dean is not worth the money. Too many injuries when healthy. Gets beat too much. Not enough INTs. Bryce Hill, injury was huge. Good one. For most of the reason, the secondary looked lost because of the plug-in players not feeling comfortable, knowing the defense and thinking too much. Dave, I called the Atlanta games the past season the meet the ball in the middle game. Sean, Baker Mayfield absolutely trucked Bobby Wagner. He does make mistakes, but constantly gives the opportunities for winning the games. We lost. Biggest says, hey guys, was watching with my dad the other day. I subscribed from my dad's account. You're welcome, Peter. And he happened to see us on the pregame show. And now he's tuned in. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Pop. As always great to have more subscribers on YouTube. Let's go out to Cam Decker, Fire Bulls, Big again, but I had to go jump on my laptop so I can comment my 2 cents. Greek, Liam Coen deserves credit for this offense. The emergence of the running game, Bucky, helped a lot. Good comment. Dave, Lions, TJ. But even changing the scheme of running game midseason from, I believe, zone to gap paid off in spades. TJ, the fumble was absolutely the turning point in the game. I felt as soon as it happened. Cam, the Greek equals koala bear. I don't know what that means, but once again, bringing absolutely nothing as always. Let's see here. Where's my Adam Sandler? There it is, right here. I heard Caleb Williams painted Greek flags on his nails. That's a good one. Biga says if it's a playoff game where everything is magnified, turnovers usually decide the outcome, just like last year with the Lions. I agree with you, Greek. That play call is at the juncture. Bulls equals garbage. Dave, I'm never gripe about being in the playoffs. It was fun. It could be worse. I could be a Jets fan. Cam, the Greek equals biased, I think. I don't know, based? What is this? What is this? Biased or based? What is this? Based? What is
Greek
that?
Equals based. I don't know.
This guy sucks.
The spot of the fielder stopping them on 4th and goal at the 2 was risky to begin with. Of course, the players need to execute, but coaches need to think about the scenario when play calling. Peter equals Chris. Don't know what that means. Christopher Cole. Teams are going to wait until the Lions are out of the playoffs so they can contact Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn in the building. Cam Decker, the Greek, showed the crib. Mike D. Roche, I wanted to ask Mr. Reeves on how he approaches a player during a jarring loss. So we'll ask him that next time. They got them in the week because they had the bye, didn't they? Let's see here. Biga says it's totally reversed the momentum if the Bucs go down on that drive. Score, they take control of that game. We give it right back at what the 10-yard line, asking the defense to hold Jaden tough. Mike D. Roche, Bucky Irvin reminds me of work done. Absolutely. A very handsome man. Thank you, Cam, to the Greek. I think Shaq will be back as a situational player. No over-under without the Legion. Biga, out of the end zone from the inside of the 10 of the 10. 2 consecutive possessions after a quick change is a big ask. I think our starting quarters were out of point as well, but that fumble beginning and the end, let me rest my fingers. Thank you, Biga. Appreciate that as always.
Yeah.
Knight Harry, Peter for coach. Tulio, the team needs to sign a veteran number 1 defensive end to bookend with Yaya. I'm with you about looking at Myles Garrett. Mike D. Roche, sound effects are back. They are. Tristan, shaking my head. Chiefs and Steelers have dominated the AFC for the last 25 years. Guess the teams that have won the AFC when the Chiefs and Patriots didn't win. Very good, Tristan. Christopher Cole was talking about the first drive of the game. Tristan, we tend to forget that Leftwich had a top 5 offense before Canales and Coen. That makes 3 consecutive coordinators to be successful in Tampa. This narrative for Coen is so inflated. Marine, Ron, Bucks, fantastic. McClary, I don't think you can again allow another offensive coordinator to walk and start again. Biga, well, the Cowboys kind of surprised everyone with the firing of McCarthy for a 3rd time. Mike D. Roche, how much money can the Bucs spend on the current and free agent players? We'll get into that, but they will have some cap room. I would take TJ Watt for sure. Marine says, dude, go start a sexual I don't know how to say it. And what is it? Innuendo comedy show.
I cut some of these guys off of my show.
Yeah, it's Cam. I still say with KJ Britt's play, Devin White in sideline to sideline speed and ability to affect the quarterback, the blitz was missed. That's right, I said it. Who's going to check me? I mean, we will check you because of the lack of effort. We will check you because he played when he wanted to play. He was injured. On top of it, he was terrible in coverage. He regressed. We could have had him for cheap after the Eagles released him. They didn't want him. Another irrelevant comment. Sean says JTS needs to be let go. He's an absolute bust. I believe Tristan is sending me some stars. I believe he sent it again. So thank you very much. Bucs will be dangerous next year with cap space. They need to sign a veteran quarter. Maybe Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey, or even Sauce Gardner. Dave, Sean Thornton, correct. Biga. Jaden Daniels is Lamar Jr. right now. Noah, Phil Bowles is fighting an uphill battle. Old school defense doesn't work in the new era of the National Football League. More things to discuss when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but let's get to turnbuckle talk here. First and foremost, we didn't get a chance, but the Netflix, the review there, the coming out for WWE, what did you think of that whole thing? I thought it was underwhelming, to say the least. Again, the big time story was Hogan gets booed. You have The Rock is not even in the character of the final boss thing, comes out the next night at NXT and says, I'm going to go and do my thing. But really, it was uneventful. I will say this. I love the match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Besides that,
that was the match of the night.
Right.
That was the match.
Besides that, I didn't think it was anything special.
No, I didn't either. And this week, cutting off a half hour early or 25 minutes early, I didn't like that either. I mean, they were supposed to go to 11 o'clock, and 10:30 they were done. So, I don't know if that was a network problem or something like that, but I like the Netflix graphics, the way that that it's presented on there. It looks a lot different than what it is on USA. Things like that, I do like that. Netflix seems to have everything right. I hope so, because they got the NFL and they got WWE wrestling and boxing.
They better have a right. They better have a right, because if they don't have a right, it'll be a complete and total show.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Jake
and
Paul,
WWE
Mike
have
Tyson.
egg on their face.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Mike D. Rose says WWE Netflix is a bust. Very boring back-to-back weeks. It must improve the card. I agree. I completely agree. And I thought it was better this week, even with the cutting down to 2.5 hours. I like the cutting down. I don't need 3 hours of wrestling, especially when you have.
No, I thought they were gonna keep Raw 2 hours, and then they moved it to Netflix, and it was 3. Now it's 2.5. I don't know if it'll go back to 2. Who knows?
Let me go out to Sean here.
So.
Much love, Peter H. Blake. Win, lose, or tie. Always my Bucs. I love it, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Continue to tune in as we get into this offseason. And, of course, playoff football is going on, so we'll talk about
We're
more.
also simulcasted on my YouTube and Facebook page.
Love
too.
that. Good stuff. All right, so Penta, he had his arrival this week. What did you think of his arrival? I thought his promo was tremendous. I didn't know he had that promo ability. I felt like AEW was hiding that. Great promo, although he did supposedly receive some heat backstage because it went over. They wanted a hard out. He went over the time allotted. What did you think of him and his arrival to WWE?
I like it. WWE, Motor City Machine Guns, Penta. If his brother comes and that manager they had in AEW, which I hear they're supposed to be coming as well. I hear as soon as the Hardys contract's done with TNA, they're coming to WWE for a retirement year or a retirement kind of thing. I hear that. WWE's absorbing all these quality talent. My question is there enough room for creative to put them in there? That's going to be the question. Because look at AEW, look at WCW. They had too many chiefs, too many cooks in the kitchen, and you saw what happened. And, if the WWE starts having too many cooks in the kitchen, the recipe isn't going to be very good.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're completely correct about that. But they do have lots of talent right now. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, he reported an update about Penta's arrival. He wrote that Penta's WWE deal had been finalized for weeks, and after his AEW contract expired on December 1st, the report noted that Penta was originally slated to team with Rey Mysterio and face the New Day, but the plan was changed. Sapp cited sources who claimed that the merchandise release ahead of the debut was a happy accident. Also, according to Sapp, Penta was backstage throughout the day. He was not hidden. Sapp also confirmed PW Insider's report that Penta's segment went overtime as his promo went longer than expected. The report noted that it was unclear whether this led to other segments being cut. Also, one higher up had not heard of any heat on Penta for his segment going longer than expected, and they said that any heat should be on whomever decided that they needed to be a hard out on the show. Furthermore, Sapp wrote that WWE was trying to wrap up the live portion of WWE Raw in about 2.5 hours. Sapp cited talent who claimed that they did not hear any heat on Penta for his segment going long, and the roster was said to be happy for him. And of course, everybody would expect him to face Rey Mysterio. He's a talented wrestler. His brother, Rey Fenix, is a talented wrestler. I would expect him to be in WWE. I mean, how excited are you about this wrestler joining this organization right now?
I love it. I'm glad he's here. AEW, I guess they ran out of options with them with his contract. And, later on, we could talk a little bit about AEW. I noticed that they've been having all their Dynamite events at that Hammerslick Ballroom or Hall in New York. They haven't been moving it around like they used to. And they're doing what TNA does and what NXT does. They stay in one place and don't get out too often. And I know the pay-per-views, or they have one coming up in Australia, and then they have another one in Texas in July. But I think they're staying put at that Hammerslick Ballroom, it looks like. Because the Coens are working on Jacksonville Stadium, and I guess they can't use that little amphitheater they have in the back there. So I guess that's what AEW's up to these days as well. They're doing like TNA, staying in one place, and that's what they're doing.
All right, and that is the Hammerstein Ballroom. Would be the
Hammerstein Ballroom or Hammerschlag or whatever it's called.
That'd be was that the old ECW arena, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, that's in New York.
That's in New York. So Hammerstein.
Yeah. I think it's in New York.
Is it EC? Was that the old? Is that ECW, or was that where they had Raw for so many years?
That's where they had Raw at one time.
I thought that was Raw. Okay.
Yeah, when Raw first started, it was there.
I find New Day Gunther, especially Gunther, very boring characters. Penta looks like a WCW wrestler. El Parca. Right there, good stuff. Mike Ron says, I don't think Ralph had any clue to whom I was referring to. So go ahead and say that in the box there, or you want to call in. Dave says, lost interest in wrestling. It seems all the wrestlers' gimmicks are the same compared to the years past. Do you agree with that?
There's a lot of people that are saying that these days. A lot of people I talk to tell me they talk about Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino. They talk about Ultimate Warriors, Sergeant Slaughter. Most people have got out of wrestling after the late 80s, early 90s. They got out.
Yeah.
So, I'm watching it.
Mike D. Roche says, in my opinion, AEW is bingo hall wrestling. Damn. That's in the ECW days, and I think ECW was actually better because they actually had storylines to their wrestling. That's the problem with AEW. It's not talent. They have the talent. It's just the storylines. Like, why am I watching? Why am I watching this match? Why are you doing this match in the first place? There's no explanation at all.
That extended tournament where they had all the brackets and the red division or the blue division or whatever. They didn't need to do all that for that Colonial Championship. WWE, what I like when they do tournaments, it's simple. They have the matches every week on their feature shows. AEW just whoever's in the orange bracket, and then they get a second chance, and they get points, and it's totally stuff like that is boring to me.
Well, there you go. It's Ralph speaking his mind tonight here, the bodyguard of the Berg. Love it here on Turnbuckle Talk. I'm your host, Peter Blake, talking professional wrestling, WWE, AEW, whatever else is in right now, whatever you want to talk about.
Matt Riddle.
Well, there you go. TNA with Matt Riddle. Open phone line if you want to talk about that. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I see the heel Mark out there is watching. So hopefully, let's see. Mike D. Roche says, why can't Flair Hogan just go away? They are so irrelevant. We'll get back to that. What do you think about Hogan being booed? Because for me, it's more of, he's in California. It's a political state. Then again, he did make some racial comments in the past. People still hold that against him. But I want people to understand this, that if not for Hogan, you don't have professional wrestling at the pinnacle of where it's at. You don't have it on Netflix. So I can understand both sides of it. I kind of think at this point, WWE should have Hogan as a heel. Where do you stand on Hogan?
Hey, Pensman, thank you for watching.
Go ahead. What do you?
Pensman Sports.
What's up, Pensman? What do you think about Hogan being booed?
Well, people don't forget things, and Hogan, like you said, if it wasn't for him, that he's the talk. I mean, as I mentioned before, everywhere I go, and I mentioned that I talk wrestling, people say I stopped watching it when Hulk Hogan was done. That's exactly what they tell me. And, and it is a little more entertainment than wrestling these days. And, with some of the characters and the setups and the goofy names and things like that at times. But, back then that was wrestling. Roddy Piper, Ric Flair. That was the time when all these guys were together. And I do agree with the fact that perhaps it's time for them to, get away and let someone else carry the torch,
Good point. I mean, I think there are wrestlers that are carrying the torch, but they continue to bring back those legends because they seem like they're popular. Ric Flair seemed like he's popular.
Woo! Yeah, he's still packs them in. Goldberg. They still bring back Brock Lesnar. I hear he's going to be in Royal Rumble. Rock's going to be in Royal Rumble. So here we are.
I'd be really surprised if Brock Lesnar ever is in a wrestling ring again. But funnier things have happened. There's still those allegations with him, McMahon, and Laurinaitis. Let's see here.
Let's open up all his butcher shops all across Canada.
Texans will beat the Chiefs. Okay, Christopher Cole, you hit on it. The storylines have gotten boring, making the build-up to big matches not exciting. And Pinsman says CM Punk. Absolutely CM Punk. I would expect to see him in some great storylines there, especially against Seth Rollins. And there was a report out there. I don't know if you saw this, but supposedly the Shield was supposed to be his bodyguards at the time. And it was he picked Hero over Roman Reigns. They wanted Roman Reigns. And then they ended up not even doing it with CM Punk. Let me go out to Sun Devil Dave using his second call here on Turnbuckle Talk. Go ahead. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
Hey, real quick, I wanted to get your opinions on what The Rock will be doing for WrestleMania 41. Is he going to just take a step back because he's so busy with TK Holdings?
I hope not. I really hope not, because I think that would be disappointing. You put this storyline out there where he has something with Cody. He beat Cody in the first night of WrestleMania 40. Then he comes out after Cody wins the championship and says, "You broke my heart," gave him something like a watch, I guess. We don't know what that's all about. You have the final boss. You have, all this storyline there with Roman Reigns now, having being the tribal chief. I would be so disappointed if The Rock wasn't a part of WrestleMania 41. Ralph, where do you stand on this? Because a lot of people have said the reason why he was out of character during the Netflix thing is because he's not going to do anything. Dave Meltzer reports he's not going to be in WrestleMania 41. I can't fathom it. It doesn't make any sense. The final boss needs to be a part of WrestleMania 41 in some aspect, whether he's wrestling Roman Reigns or he's wrestling Cody Rhodes. It needs to happen.
Or even John Cena. I mean,
right?
You got Cena making his retirement thing, and I think one of his final matches, perhaps at WrestleMania, could be against, The Rock. I mean, The Rock could be fighting anybody. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, even CM Punk on that matter, John Cena. Who knows? I mean, we'll see where Rock goes. We don't know because, he's got so much on his plate. He's got that UFL football he's involved in. He's got that, TKO movies. He's involved in a lot. So we'll see where his schedule takes him.
We'll definitely see where it takes them, and I, I was disappointed with the Netflix, but I think he's just trying to be the Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I'm the shareholder trying to put on a good face. I'm drinking tequila, my tequila in the background with Cody after I beat you up and made you bloody and talked about Mama Rhodes and all this other stuff.
Thanks for that comment as well. Yes. Having issues with subscribers. So.
Oh, well, we'll try to help you out with that, my friend. Like and subscribe to Ralph Williams there. What is it? RW Media.
Yeah, so, Ralph Williams, RW Media.
There you go. So we'll help you out with that. But with that being said, then the next night he comes out and final boss, character. So I think there is something to it. I do not think anybody knows what The Rock and WWE and Triple H are going to do for WrestleMania 41. And like The Rock said that night, just kind of sit back. But I was disappointed that the character and the storylines were kind of put off to the side for the Netflix reveal. Just my opinion.
I don't know if you heard this story or not. I read a story.
Hold on, Dave.
Shawn Michaels is supposed to be working with Triple H now, and NXT will be ran by Scott D'Amore.
Yes, I heard that. So that's great. That's interesting in itself. Shawn has done a
Corey
phenomenal
Graves
job.
is part of the fray. I'm friends with his dad. I got to talk to his father.
Don't you steal my thunder on that, because we're going to get to that in a moment. But go ahead, Sun Devil Dave.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Netflix overall, like production value, the graphics. I mean, it felt like you're watching a pay-per-view. I just liked the whole everything about it. I was happy Ripley won the title back. Stratton, of course, won her title on her side. The way they're pushing the different new belts on the women's division with the Intercontinental and with the U.S. Or United States Championship. So a lot of great things happening. Also want to see what's going to happen with the Wyatt Six going to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Kind of announced that on the whim. We'll see who they're going to feud with on SmackDown. They got 3 hours there, so gives them a little bit more time to work with instead of being constricted by the.
If the new bloodline is still around, I'd like to see him feud with them.
Well, that would be the dream match scenario, and you could see something like that maybe in WrestleMania, getting them over. I think the Wyatt Six has done well.
They're not used enough. They're not
used enough. Yeah. It's Bray Wyatt. The brother's done a phenomenal job, but it's not the same. I'm sorry. It's again, it goes back to, why should I care? Like, why do I care about the Wyatt Six? Like, what wrestler makes me care?
You got to give the audience or the fan base here, Peter and Dave, something to really look at here. I mean, the Wyatt Six is the same thing as Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt passed, we thought that was all going to go away, and then all of a sudden, here comes his brother with this stuff. Bo Dallas. And then now he's doing the same thing, and it's just it's the same old.
Yeah, got some great comments in here too, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, I think the first couple of months when he came out in June, July of last year was more of like a tribute to Bray. But now you have to expand and say, okay, what's the end result?
What do you do with it? You've done this. Now, what do we do?
Nostalgia's over. Let's get to some good stories.
Correct. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Because it's good for the first couple of months, and it's amazing and everything like that. They're revealed and it's nostalgia. But then what do you do with it? What have you done with it? What are you going to do with it? And why should I care about it at this juncture? We'll see. Dave, what else?
I think that's it. I'm going to go on a record. I'm going to say Stone Cold, CM Punk, WrestleMania 41.
Wow, Stone Cold and CM Punk. How would you like to see that, Ralph Williams?
That would be interesting, but I don't think Stone Cold's going to come back. I don't know.
Well, I think Stone Cold still wants to wrestle. It comes down to what WWE is going to give him, what they're willing to give him. But CM Punk versus Stone Cold would be amazing. But you have this ongoing storyline with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I mean, are you done with that, Sun Devil Dave?
Well, I mean, I think they kind of, I want to say, shot their load, so to speak. I think they could have saved that match for a little bit later, maybe before. I know they wanted to push the big Netflix kickoff, but I mean, they could do what they did with him and Cody Rhodes, right?
Yeah.
WrestleMania, they had like 3 matches.
Sure.
I believe. So maybe they'll have one at Royal Rumble, maybe have another one and then culminate WrestleMania. We'll see.
I could see that happening.
Different directions.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know where they're going to go with it, and they're going to have all 3 of them in the Royal Rumble, McIntyre, Punk, and Rollins, and then of course Cena said he's going to be in it too, and so on and so forth. But I love it either way, whether it's Rollins for 2 more matches, whether it's CM Punk and Stone Cold, whether it's CM Punk and Cena. I mean, there's so many directions to go. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
It is a win-win situation, and supposedly Malachi Black will be headed back.
That's what I hear. I hear he's coming back.
So there you go.
God bless you guys. Thanks again.
God bless you, brother. Right. Appreciate you with the 2 calls there.
Oh, yeah.
As all, it was a great job by Sun Devil Dave. Open phone line 727-255.
I got you a new viewer here, Pensman Sports. That's my buddy.
Love it, man.
Yeah, he's from Pittsburgh too. So.
Okay, all right. Let's go out to Tony here. Tony Edney, big time Bucs fan, I believe. WWE sucks now after Stone Cold retired from it. It's been pretty good. It's been been on a comeback here, Tony. Give it a chance.
Since Vince McMahon left, it's been on a comeback.
Agree. We'll definitely work on the viewers. When does Raquel Rodriguez turn on Liv Morgan? Good question by Mike D. Roche, all the way there in Canada. How do you feel about this storyline? Because you know it's eventually going to happen where Raquel Rodriguez turns on Liv. When does it happen? Does it happen around WrestleMania?
Well, it's just like any other sport, Peter. Winning is everything. Liv Morgan no longer has the title anymore. So now Raquel Rodriguez is like, well, I don't need to be here for you. You see what I'm getting at? And, you know, she might just go on her own and stab her in the back and say, hey, you know what? It's time for me. Time to look out for me, not for you anymore. And, you know, you lose your luster when you lose the belt, just like when you lose the championship, you lose your luster. And so that's exactly what's going to happen with this thing. Look at the Judgment Day. I'm hearing stories, Liv Morgan and Dirty Dom and all of them are all going to get kicked out. And there's going to be a restructure. And it's just been a mess with them, you know, but we'll see where that goes. I mean,
we'll definitely see where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Good question there, Mike. So it usually happens. They usually build this up. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but who knows? Maybe it does happen around WrestleMania. I think you got to build it up to make, again, it worthwhile watching. He was complaining he was too nice, too mean to Cody Rhodes. Writers need to make up their mind. Christopher Cole, is Nia Jax going to roll after losing her title to Tiffany? Of course, it's Tiffy time. What did you think about Stratton finally cashing in the Money in the Bank?
And I called it. My wife was a witness. I sat here for that SmackDown, and I said to my wife, Tiffy's going to do something with that case tonight, and guess what? She did it.
There you go. She did do it, and now Nia Jax was going after the mommy right there. I'm trying to think of her name.
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley. So, and then also went after Bayley.
So don't feel bad.
Yeah. All right, Mike DeRoche, Wade Barrett out at Raw. We'll get back to the comments in a moment, but that was the other big story of the week here. You got Cody Graves, and I thought this was a work at first, and then it turned out it was not a work, and you got more insight on this than I do. But Cody Graves tweeted out on Monday night, had a rant about losing his dream job as an in-ring talent, moving to commentary, where he became effing awesome at it before being told you're not famous enough for your own job. Of course, now Bully Ray had something to say about this. He said, and he offers perspective, of course, on his show. You are hired as an announcer, all right? We have 3 shows. You as an announcer are hired to be put on any of those shows we want. End of story. Same thing with the talent. Yeah, you might be on Raw one night. You might be on SmackDown the next night. There's a chance you're going to be on NXT again. If I were to look at it that way, then I would have to say that half of my career was a demotion. A demotion is when they ask you to take less money. Bully explained that a true demotion to him was losing championships, not being involved in primary storylines, and working dark matches. He also referred to Devon Dudley and himself leaving WWE in 2005, explaining that the company asked talent to take less money due to financial issues. And after working there for 6 years, they felt they were being unfairly demoted. It remains to be seen if Graves will return to NXT or if WWE will choose to leave him off of television for the time being. What do you make of this whole situation? Because I thought it was a work. It's not a work. There's definitely some heat here.
So did I.
What's going on? What's the inside?
Well, I have to talk to his father, who I spoke with the other day. He runs a wrestling company here in Pittsburgh. And I attend all his matches, all his events. And I can talk to him again and come back next week with some answers, because when I spoke to him, it was before this happened. All right. And so therefore, I could probably find out if he comes on my Wrestle Talk show on Tuesday. I could probably ask him that question, because he would be able to give me an answer. But I do know Corey Graves and Booker T do not get along. I know that, and they almost came to fisticuffs at one time, because you know how Corey Graves, with some of his jokes, offend people sometimes. And I know what's his face? The one that's an announcer in the back now. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name. He can't work with Corey Graves either. And it seems like he has an issue with him and he has an issue with Booker T. And so, but yeah, I don't know if he's a difficult person to work with at this point. But I do know that he doesn't get along with Booker T. And if he was going to be forced to work with Booker T, I think he wanted out because of that. They don't get along at all. I mean, they never have. And, Brian Saxton, that's his name. You don't get along with him either. Why do you think Brian Saxton's in the back? So, I mean, and those are the things that are going on. And I think WWE might have had enough. I can't say it's true. Might have had enough and said, hey, look, Corey, if you don't like it, hit the road. We got other people,
Well, you do got other people there. You got other talented announcers.
I was surprised Joe Testator was moved on. I actually thought when he lost his job on Raw, I thought he was done. I thought Corey Graves was going to be on SmackDown with somebody, but it didn't work that way. It looks like so.
No, it definitely didn't work that way. Let's go out to Pensman Sports. Rock and Cena would be awesome last match, or Cena or Brock Lesnar. Uncle Howdy, thank you, Pensman. TSW, I'll trade you Russell Wilson for Baker Mayfield. Yes. And I would say,
how about new?
There you go. Menza and anybody else, I don't know what he's talking about. Only joking.
I know who that is.
Allen and WWE. You know who that is?
I'll tell you on the side. I know who it is. Okay.
Should I read his comments? Because it doesn't seem like he's okay.
I know who that is.
Okay. He asked the question. I've always wondered why sitting in a bathtub makes farts smell worse. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, I know who that is. So,
okay.
And Chelsea I will tell Green, you on the side.
Okay. Chelsea Green, women's United States champion. Any theories? No idea what you're talking about. Silly comment. What the hell does yeet mean? Sounds ridiculous. Yeet. And then he says, perhaps the heated water raises the temperature of the fart and increases the fragrance. All right, man. Whatever you say. So, how do you? This Graves situation. How do you think it's going to work out?
Which one?
Graves as the announcer.
Oh, Corey Graves. Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, his real name is Jim Polinsky. That's his real name.
Okay.
His father's name is Daniel Polinsky, and his he also has a brother in wrestling named Sam Adonis, who wrestles in Europe and comes into town for his dad's wrestling matches. Because as I mentioned, Corey Graves' father, Dan Polinsky, has his own wrestling company called the Pros of Wrestling, and I've been to his matches. I'm there all the time for events. I have interviewed his wrestlers on my show, on my Wrestle Talk show, and he also, I take pictures and send them out and everything else. So with some of the guys that he has, I just think that it was a power struggle. I think it also was the fact that he don't like to work with Booker T and NXT. He probably had to take less money. And I don't understand why the WWE would think he's not a good talent. I thought he did a really good job at being the play-by-play guy when, they keep moving Cole all over the place. I think next Cole's going to be handling catering or something after this, because he's been moved around so much. But, and to move him down to NXT, I think is embarrassing to him. And I think TKO needs to get their head examined, or Triple H or whatever. And maybe he had a falling out with Triple H and management. I really don't. Until I can get a grip on it from his father, I really don't know. I mean, I'll have to reach out to his dad and find out what happened. So.
Well, we'll see how that works out. But it's an interesting
I do know
situation.
He still lives in Pittsburgh here with Carmella. I do know that. He lives in a suburb called Monroeville. So.
All right, let's go out to Pensman here. Don't read his comments. Just ignore him. Giraffe comment. Ignore it.
Pensman knows who he is too.
I will read this one because it's pretty funny. I have a belt, but it just keeps my pants up. Well, thank God for that. Well, nobody wants to know if you've got a belt or not. I got your yeet right here. Pensman says, TSW, if you want to put Giraffe on timeout, you may. That's your choice. That's okay. No problem. Okay, finishing up with the WWE, of course, Saturday night main event. What did you think, by the way, of Saturday night main event, the first one they had there a couple weeks ago?
I thought it was pretty good. It was good they brought it back. I did not know it was going to be once a month. I thought it was going to be every Saturday like it used to be.
Right.
And, yeah, I like it. I think it's a good idea to put it on national TV. It's good that they have the outlet of NBC, to do that. And, it's great because you get people who don't have cable, who just have a converter box that are actually able to start watching wrestling again. CW now has NXT, and, now Saturday night's main event on channel or NBC. And then you have Wow Women of Wrestling on also on the CW too. So,
You do. And you also have NWA on the app, I believe. Are they on the app still?
Yeah, they're not on CW's regular network because of some violation of some protocol that they did. And Billy Corgan got hold of the carpet on that.
They decided to do a Coke gimmick where they were acting like they were snorting Coke on a pay-per-view. It was the dumbest thing of all time. Less money sometimes means better conditions. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, no, I know what they're saying.
More main events at WrestleMania: Punk, McIntyre, Austin, Rollins. That's good stuff there. Like it. And of course, Monday nights or Saturday night main events coming back to San Antonio, Texas on January 25th. Dave Meltzer is going to be attending the show and also talks about Jesse Ventura being a part of it and says that also there may be somebody else in the building that would be interesting. In fact, he says on Wrestling Observer Radio that Hulk Hogan is scheduled to appear on Saturday night's main event, but questions how WWE will use him at the show after being booed on Raw. So Hogan's going to be on that show, the January 25th one. When Hogan was shown on the screen in the building, they booed like crazy. So whatever. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Do they put him in front of the crowd, risk him being booed, or does he come out and maybe the crowd doesn't boo? The other interesting one is Hogan and Jesse. They will be in the building. Of course, Hogan and Ventura famously dislike each other, mostly due to Ventura trying to unionize the WWE wrestlers in 1986 when Hogan revealed the plans to Vince McMahon, who shut down Ventura's efforts. However, Meltzer believes there will not be any issues between them at the show, especially with both being in their 70s. He also noted that Hogan was jealous when Ventura became the governor of Minnesota because he felt that his longtime rival had surpassed him in the real world. What do we make of this whole deal with, again, Hogan, Ventura possibly meeting up, Hogan being a part of Saturday night main event? Do they boo him? Does he go back does he go to Hollywood Hogan? Because to me, this is the perfect opportunity to turn Hogan heel.
I was just that thought process came in my head, Peter. You great minds think alike.
Yes.
I was thinking of that as well. I think some of the best times of Hulk Hogan resurrecting his career was when he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan in WCW. His gimmick of Hulkamania ran out, and then after WCW went on and they tried to rebrand the NWO into WWE, it didn't work. And then he was Mr. America, and then he went back to being Hulk Hogan himself, and it just got stale. And now if he comes back as Hollywood Hulk Hogan because of the boos, that could happen. That thought process was in my mind as well.
Yeah, and I think you could do something with it with the wrestlers of today. I really do. I think you can make him a manager. You can make him a guy that just makes the crowd mad. He could turn on somebody he's not supposed to turn on. I mean, there's so many things you can do with Hogan and just use the crowd. But I don't know if he's going to get that same response. Who knows? Maybe the crowd does turn on him, and you never know. Because I remember WrestleMania 17, where it's Hogan versus The Rock. And coming in, Hogan is a part of the NWO, and he's Hollywood, and he goes to Toronto, and it's like he's Hulk Hogan all over again with the red and yellow, and he's getting cheered. And during that match, they had to change some of their plans because people were booing The Rock. You just never know. That's what comes out of it. Pensman says, will LA Knight compete for a championship belt against Gunther? It would be a prime opportunity for that to happen. Does Jesse Ventura have Parkinson's? He shakes a lot during interviews. Just wondering.
Could be.
It's a great question. I don't know. He's in his 70s. Lots of wrestling, lots of damage over time. Who knows? TSW, do you miss John Gruden as a coach for the Bucs, or happy with the coach you have? Happy with the coach that we have here, even though John Gruden for a couple years there, of course, won the Super Bowl, had a couple of playoff appearances. But no, I do not miss John Gruden as a coach, because as a player personnel, I don't think he's very good at all developing young players. Ventura deserves respect. Served our country, is a Navy SEAL. Let's finally leave off with this in AEW, with Jon Moxley assessing the importance of storytelling in professional wrestling. Maybe he passed this on to Tony Khan. Somebody needs to pass it on to Tony Khan. He says storytelling is always needed. It's essential. It's non-negotiable. It's a vital element to wrestling. You need to hook. How much more do you enjoy sports when you have an investment in who the person is or the story of the season? Wrestling is no different. You're not going to pick up a book that has a bunch of descriptions of random objects or events. There has to be a story or a thread that will take you on a ride. I feel like this is calling the kettle black here in AEW. Of course, Moxley's Death Rider storyline will continue this week on Maximum Carnage edition of AEW's Dynamite in his hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. Hobbs is the latest, of course, Powerhouse Hobbs, who earned the opportunity by winning the Casino Gauntlet match on January 8th at Dynamite. Hobbs is the latest in a long line of AEW stars who want to step up and take the company out of Moxley's grasp. But on tonight's Dynamite semi-cast, he will also try to make Moxley his bitch. What do you think of Moxley? And just basically
describing
describing the problems of what the reason why AEW and the ratings have suffered. I love AEW and what the idea is. I loved it at the beginning. Now I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't either. And I'm tired of, like I said, some of the same old. They're starting to get like WWE, they had the same old rivalries that dragged on for too long and it got boring. That's what AEW is starting to do now. Like this Hook and Christian Cage. I'm getting tired of that. I mean, do something with that. Make these rivalries last a short while. Don't make them too long, because then they start getting boring and out of control. The Don Callis family, that's a waste. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. Now you got Chris Jericho as ROH heavyweight champion with his learning tree. I mean, I like Chris Jericho. And, you got MJF back, trying to get back into the championship fold. He's picking on Jeff Jarrett now. So I think they just, don't know how to be creative. Tony Khan has to get somebody in there that understands the creativity of wrestling, especially in the industry that he's in. And he just doesn't have anybody like that, I don't think. You know what I mean? He needs to get somebody in there, somebody that's really good. Maybe a Bruce Pritchard. I don't know. Bring somebody in, somebody that knows the business, that knows it well, that they can guide him to do that. Because some of the guys they got now can't guide him. I don't know.
Yep, it's definitely been a problem for this organization, and you hope they stick around. This is what
happens when you have a rich man who's a wrestling fan and doesn't know the business. This is what happens to you.
Well, he's too close to the wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it comes down to. And I love the fact, I love what Tony Khan is doing for wrestling to a certain degree, bringing guys in. I love the fact that there's competition. I don't want it to go away. And in order for AEW to truly survive going forward here, they have to improve their ratings. They have to improve the storytelling, like Moxley has said. Let me read the rest of these comments, and then we will get out of here for the night. Talking Bucs and WWE until midnight is totally awesome. Thank you very much, Christopher Cole. Appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
Ralph can talk about Tristan Jari when you have time.
Well, I'm going to do that on Tuesday. Tune into my Sports Corner show on Tuesday. I'm going to have Matt Venzel come on from the Penguins talk about it. So
okay. Gruden got credit for Bucs success. Dungy created Gruden just fine. Tune the team. Dungy broke ground. I haven't heard about Tristan in a while. Tony really needs professional advice. I think that's
he does.
And Jericho from my hometown, real name Chris Irvine. His dad was an NHL player back in the day. Absolutely, he was. With that being said, final thoughts here. Ralph Williams on Turnbuckle Talk. 3-hour show. You guys don't tune into the sports web, and I'm tired at this point. So go ahead and give me some final thoughts.
Yeah,
Ralph.
I am too. I got to get to bed. I got to get up in the morning. So, but anyway, my final thoughts are it's good to be back for the first show of my appearance for the new year. And I'm trying to increase my my subscribers. I'm on YouTube, Facebook. I'm also on Twitter X. Please follow me on Twitter X as well. And I'm on Tumblr and LinkedIn platforms. Also, don't forget to catch my triple header of Ralph on Saturdays, and every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show. This Saturday, my guest is Tony Moreno, former Republican candidate for mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. And then also at 9 a.m., from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the External Bum Show. We talk about bums in sports, and we also talk about other sports topics. Ralph Williams, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports here, and Jeremy Ballrick. And then we're also on the Huddle Sports Network and the 4 platforms of YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platform as well. And then from 2 to 3 p.m., 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM. Again, 2 radio shows on a Saturday, the Ralph Williams Show and the Sports Corner Radio Show. The Answer, 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM. Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. So there you go.
Got all that quiz afterwards. Ralph Williams, appreciate the time here on the Evolution. All right.
It's always good to be here, Peter. I'll see you next week if otherwise.
Absolutely. Good stuff there, my friend. So we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Mr. Harry the Greek, of course, being the co-host, Mr. TJ Reeves, the media icon, and of course, Ralph Williams right there. We'll read this final comment and then we'll wrap it up for the night. Over 3-hour show. Good chance we can keep Liam Coen. Absolutely great shot with the landscape of the National Football League, the jobs that are being put out there. I would say a 95 to 99% chance that Liam Coen comes back as the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake, and do 3 things. The roommates are sleeping, so we'll keep it down. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, including you Bucs fans, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. As always, guys, even though the Bucs season is over with, it's never over here on the Sports Web. Go Bucs.